Am I live now? Oh yeah, I guess I'm live now. Shoot. Okay, so probably gonna get that thumbnail going. Let people pile in. I wonder if I can see the comment section this time around. There we go. Comment section's up. There are 0 people watching this because this is impromptu as L, which gives me enough time to do this. 1. There's 2 people live. There we go. Guys, let me know if the audio is good. It sounds great on my headphones, but I always get weary. This is a new microphone, so we'll see how this works out. Also, there may be people in the house today, so you're going to have to deal with that. So, okay. Let me just move this around just so I'm not totally staring at my computer screen the whole time. Actually, maybe let me just put it over here. Yeah, boy. Also, somebody let me know that if I'm in focus. Because if I'm not in focus, you guys are bad friends. There we go. Looks like that's in focus. Actually, this looks pretty decent. Dang. Losing the jawline. Got to go back to the gym. All right, let's do a little roll call in here. We'll let people pile in. There's like 9 people watching. This is dope. Audio sounds good so far. Excellent. Alorio is always in the cut, bro. I appreciate it. Made from Java, also another guy. What's up? Audio is good. Excellent. We love that. What's good? Loved your S1R II video. Perfect. Thank you, man. That was a struggle. I think I may change how I do videos kind of going forward. I think one of the things that I keep doing to myself, and it's not a financially good thing to do, but I'll spend so much money just like getting test footage. But I feel like I should spend a little bit more time. Like I should probably shoot spec first, get tester stuff later. Like that should be kind of secondary just from a sustainability standpoint, but we'll see. Did someone say rolling shutter? I think a lot of people said rolling shutter because I think what we've done now, if we've like moved the goalpost on like things that are needed from a camera, and when it wasn't resolution or high frame rates, now it's rolling shutter, but it's not a fast sensor. We'll get in that later. You're at the gym, but I got you in headphones. Perfect. Audio autofocus looks good. Excellent. Blake Pocock, what do you think about Camera Foundry's new Cineback Like? I like it a lot. I think it's super useful. I think one of the things, and it might be a point of contention for some people, is the price. Because I think the Cineback, like the regular Cineback, is not super cheap either. Actually, before making an embarrassment of myself, let me actually check that. Because I think that was one of the things where I thought it was really good. And I do like that Caleb makes a lot of the stuff, but I think the price point might turn some people off. Mind you, if you only have, if you only have 1 or 2 cameras and you have them rigged out all the time, I could see that being something worth it to you. But if you're someone that like formats their camera a bunch of different ways, I think that might be a bit tough. But I'm trying to find where the price for the Cineback Lite is. Cineback Lite, yeah. So it's $335 Canadian, and like the regular Cinebacks are $481, so they're like $150 more. But there's like half of the Cineback there. Like if it was $199, I think it'd be, a little bit more digestible. But then again, like, yeah, if I needed just that part, I think that's cool. Mind the Blazars? Yes, I am. I'm on my 45mm Remus. We stream on the Pixis. Actually, I'm gonna be so real with you guys. The only reason, or the big reason why today is a stream, is I'm working on a video with Desky because they gave me a new desk. It's like right over there. It's like where I'm gonna like look how nice that looks. But that's gonna be like my new like top-down Instagram reel setup. And Desky sponsored it by sending like a desk. The new chair is also a Desky ergonomic chair. And that thing is gonna be set up. And I'm gonna be talking about anamorphic live streams and how to set those guys up. Also, how crispy is this audio? It feels like I'm doing ASMR or ASMR, that's what it's called. This is the Shure M7 Plus. It's really nice because it has USB-C instead of USB-C, the other one, the one that sucked, and mine broke. So this is how we're working with things. And when I plug my headphones on, it sounds real crispy. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about S1R II stuff. So this is The Lumix S1R II. I shut up about it. I was pretty quiet about it, but I also went to Norway with everybody else. And I've been using it for the last little bit. I've been getting a lot of test stuff. Between the productions that I did have, it was kind of tough to make it work in the production side of things. So I did a lot of testing footage. I set up a lot of lights, went to a bunch of locations to try to get in different environments. We also got hit with like 2 snowstorms. So even like digging my car out of 3 feet of snow was kind of weird. But I think it's dope, man. I think there was a lot of points of contention, a lot of valid concerns, especially with shutter readout. But outside of that, I think overall it's pretty good. And I think there was a couple of things that I liked about it. A couple of things that I also liked the fact that while we were testing the camera out, any problems that we had got fixed like almost right away. So I'm going to go over some of the, because you know all the specs already, but like some of the things that we ran into and some of the things that still needs to be fixed is if you use Lumix Flow, there's a couple things. Like one, hang on one second. So like if you're on Lumix Flow and you go to playback and then you come back into the, like you come back into normal shooting, it does take like a second for the Lumix Flow to figure itself out. Lumix Flow is really dope, but there's like some things that are missing from it that I think are going to be firmware updates. The other one is your human tracking autofocus in 8K on Lumix Flow doesn't work. You have to go to 6K open gate, which that's where I'm kind of like, oh, I mean, like that would be annoying, but I mean, like it still has, I guess the other autofocus, but then like you want that human tracking focus because it is updated and stuff. And that 8K, it like when you say it though, it sounds like a first world problem. My 8K doesn't have eye tracking autofocus when I put my cell phone as a monitor. But outside of that, like they're really good. And also the LUT transmission over USB-C. It does it HDMI, it does the other stuff, but over USB-C on the Lumix Flow app doesn't do it. And if you use real-time LUT, it'll do it no problem. So that's like a really small thing, which they can fix. I'm gonna go back and I may have missed it, but I heard the no, the S1R II's menu system is almost the exact same as the S5 2X. In fact, like, wonder if I have, one second, I can actually show you it, to be honest with you. Yeah, if you go into here, like all the menu settings are pretty much, let me see the other face, they're all exactly the same. Now there's new features in it. I think false color is really cool. In like false color internal is really dope. I thought that was going to be kind of stupid because the screen's so small. But it does come in handy. And it also gives you like, if you're like new to false color, it gives you like a legend on how it reads IRE by the color. Makes you think of a cheaper A7R V. That camera also had rolling shutter 8K. There's so many cameras that had like rolling shutter 8K that are high mag. Like there's a couple of facts of life and a couple of facts of physics. And also there's some information we got on the Lumix trip. For one, high resolution sensors are going to have rolling shutter. Like it's just kind of like a fact of life. The reason why, because of that though, and this is something we kind of learned on the Lumix trip, is that there are a bunch of new generation sensors that have come out that have been manufactured already, whether it be by Sony or somebody else. The hard part is Sony doesn't have a stranglehold, or no camera brand has a stranglehold on who makes the processors. So the processors haven't caught up to the sensors that are available. So once there's new processors, which we don't know who's going to make them, and from what I heard from people that I know in like the processing field, there's not going to be a bunch of new processors coming out anytime soon. So we're kind of at a crossroads. Like these cameras can do these things, but to get the processor to do it, either you have to be very okay with spending more money, or you kind of deal with what you have in order to keep the price down, right? Like there's no way you're going to get a super high powered processor from like an A1 II and then put it in a S1R Mark II to get double, like to get half of the shutter readout and then pay the same $32.99. It just isn't going to make any sense. So I think one of the things that we have a problem with sometimes with these cameras is we want these things to be fixed, but we don't want to spend $1 more. And I think once there's, and it's hard to gauge that, it's hard to gauge that demand. I'm like, would you spend $39.99 to get it better? Who knows? And I don't know if Lumix necessarily has a market share in order to command that price point yet, unless it's something that's like a really big knock out of the park, like what would be the S1H II, hopefully. I don't remember if you mentioned this video, but will Lumix Flow be available on the S9 as well? Mike, I don't know yet. No one's really told me just yet. Hang on one second. I'm going to try to make this a little bit smaller so people can read it. I also just made it bigger. Awesome. I haven't been told that information just yet. I mean, they made Lumix Lab available on the S5 IIX. So I'm assuming it probably will be at some point in time, but I think for the most part, it's not right now. But I wouldn't put it past Lumix. Giovanni had the HX2 with a 40 megapixel sensor and 8K with serious rolling shutter. Great if you're on sticks though. Yeah, that's almost all of the cameras that can do that. Like outside of like what I think the Z8 has decent rolling shutter. And then you have like the Red Raptor that can do 8K and it's super fast readout, or like the A1. Like the cameras you're talking about that have the readout that you want are also super expensive. And if you're not willing to spend $6,500 on, say, like a Lumix camera, because I know a lot of people that aren't. Like you could have put the A1 II internals inside of the S1R II and would have figured some sort of way to not buy it, even though it's on paper it's great, because it's Lumix and not Sony. So, and I think from a marketing perspective, like they're aware of that, so it makes it difficult to say like, hey, we're gonna throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, but like also someone has to foot the bill. Yeah, 1 second. Where is this going? Oh, I'm actually caught up too, that's kind of cool. As an S1H owner, I'm curious what Lumix could do to make the S1H II so much better than the S1R II. Internal ND, 6K 120. Do we need those things? I don't think anybody's figured out ND filters inside of a mirrorless camera yet, to be honest with you. I could see them maybe doing the same thing they did with the Red Komodo, where they put like the ND filter adapter and it's just like a L to L mount. I could see that happening, and it would be just a separate thing you have to buy, or like a separate thing that comes with it. I don't know if like you could put it inside of the body without making it huge. What else am I thinking of? And then the 6K 120, I would never want 6K 60 would be great. And if it only went up to like 6K 60, but had like really, really good readout, I think most people would be happy. I think anybody that needs more like 6K 120, go buy an Ursa 12K or buy a Raptor, man. My nose is stuffed and it's super hard to breathe and I hate it. The S1R II is crazy value for $32.99. Absolutely. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess it's easy to say when you have the camera early, but like we've been using it since, and like when we don't know the numbers, like like knowing the whatever the chart numbers are, whatever the case is, after using it is kind of weird, because we're like, oh, I don't care. Like we knew the readout wasn't going to be super fast, but then like we didn't really care about like how not fast it was while we were using it. And then you hear it and you're like, oh, 37 milliseconds, like that's a lot. But like I've used it already, so I don't care. And it didn't change that much for me. And I would just make it work, right? I think sometimes with like some of these videos, especially like embargo days where you only have enough time to go over some of the specs on the sheet, you could only, like your only frame of reference is whatever those numbers are, but it's hard to contextualize unless you've used them. People still having a Lumix, the S5 II, SR2X, and now the S1R II are great cameras with a ton of features. I agree with that. I feel like if this had a Sony, badge on it, I feel like there would be way less complaints. I think this is a Sony. If there's a Sony badge on this guy and it was Kondo, I feel like there'd be a difference in some of the reception. I couldn't tell you what happens like when other what do I have on my desk right now? Like the A7C2, great camera. It's essentially a rehoused. It's essentially a rehoused A7 IV, but the readout's not great on it either. But when they like remade it into the smaller camera, people didn't have the same issues as I did with like the S1R II, which was interesting, but it is what it is. Hey, super chat from Brandon Washington. Love to see you live streaming more and more, bro. Can't stay long, but keep crushing it. Hey, respects, bro. I was supposed to do 6 live streams this month. I think I only ended up doing this is my second or my third. Going to Norway, having commercial productions. We are going to talk about the Trish Stratus shoot a little bit in 2 weeks, which was really fun. But yeah, it was hard to kind of get on these live streams. Also just hard to make YouTube videos. So respect, man. Thank you. Is that Uncle Kofi? You know it's Uncle Kofi. You know what it is, eh? You know, Uncle Kofi is coming here to talk about the Panasonic, the Lumix, the S1R II. We're also going to talk about this one. I have not shown you this guy yet, but I've been having this one, the S1H II 12K. I've been having this one for a couple of weeks, so you know we're going to talk about that in the stream too. So Uncle Kofi is here. Totally agree. Lumix made a patent on internal ND mechanism 2 years ago, but of course it doesn't mean it will work. Yeah, who knows? It might be an EVA 2. Here's the thing that's the most exciting about the S1R II launch. And yes, the camera's exciting. The camera's great. But now they're in a corner where the only camera left is, technically the S1 II, which who knows if they'll make another one. But the S1H II is the only thing left. That's the only thing you can do. You can't hide behind, you can't make an event and be like, we're going to make the S9. I'm like, nope, you can't do that no more. We've already done that. The only thing left is that camera, right? And I think it'll also give more context to the S1R II when the S1H II comes out. The king is in the house. You're referring to me. That's what he meant. Israel meant me. He meant me. I'm the king of the house. It's Big Kofi now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm halfway through S1R II documentary. Honestly, man, if you gave me one more week with that camera, full out would have been. I would have had confessional interviews throughout it. I also do wish if I didn't use the there's a 12K for the Trish Stratus shoot, I think I would have 100% used the S1R II and no one would have noticed or cared or been upset about it. Bought the Pegasus one was on sale recently and I'm unimpressed with the image compared to the S5 IIX. Oh, that's surprising. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. It's noisy as hell at 3200. I would not use 3200 cut. I think you mentioned that in another live stream. The dual native ISOs are 3200 and 400, I think, in terms of how much dynamic range you get. But the base ISOs, the two base ISOs, is 200 or something and 1250 on the high end. So base and native ISO are a little bit different. Base ISO is the lowest you can go on the circuit, which will give you technically the cleanest blacks out of whatever the circuit range is. Native ISO is whatever's going to give you the best dynamic range, which doesn't necessarily imply that you're going to get the best in your shadow detail per se. So for example, if you use a lower ISO on a Sony camera, what'll happen is you'll get less, you'll just have the less maximum amount of highlight information and you'll get a little bit more in the blacks. But the number between those two ranges is going to be less than what your base ISO dynamic range is. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, leave a comment, I'll explain. I've been saying the most about Lumix cams, the S9, if it had a Sony badge on it, nobody. Yeah. Well, here's the interesting part about that with Michael is, and I made a thread and I was being facetious, is it was interesting how many people got very, very upset at the S9, but got really excited about the, the Sigma BF? And the Sigma BF and the S9 are same mount, maybe even the same sensor, and has less features, and it's $500 more. Two totally different, and they flew creators to the same country in order to cover it, which was two totally different things. It was super interesting, but yeah, I think it just comes down to some of this. It does in fact imply some of it is contingent on brand loyalty, unfortunately, right? It's your favorite football team, right? Patriots fans, even if Patriots fans lose, they're never going to be happy about that the loss. And even more so, not just happy with the loss, but they'll find the first way to figure out how the other team didn't play honest or cheated. Who got mad at the S9? Oh, really? Brandon, seriously? I think I still have screenshots of my inbox from that event, which was, I don't know. It's water under the bridge at this point. I'm too young, black, and beautiful to get upset about camera beef. I'm on the fence with the GH7 and the S1R II. Those are, I was going to say they're totally different cameras, but that would be untrue because almost most of the design between the two are very similar. If you want to spend less money on lenses, Rad Twin, I would say GH7. If you don't mind rolling shutter, if you're on sticks a lot, I say you're fine. Also, keep in mind, for as much of the rolling shutter talk, and I think I really want to try to get away from the rolling shutter thing. It's not that huge of a deal. You can just turn dynamic range boost off. If you turn it off, the shutter readout is actually faster than the Pixis and the FX9. And I think even some of the high-res Sony cameras, you could just turn it off and the dynamic range is fine. It's more than fine. Until someone could show me what a scene looks like, that's exactly like 12.7 stops of dynamic range, you're fine. Late discussion, you're not late at all. I only started like 20 minutes ago. But I'm glad I made it. Hey, John, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. Also, yeah, make sure you hit that like button. There's always someone that comes in, presses dislike, and leaves. We'll never know who they are, and that's fine, but there's always one. What do you like the most and least about the S1R II? So I think the thing I like the most about it is kind of, it's kind of tough to pin it down to one thing. It's how much stuff they put into the one camera. Things I like about it the least, I mean, like, I would love faster readout, but it didn't bother me when I was using it, so it's such a weird thing to bring up. I'm trying to think. Oh, honestly, it's probably going to be the whole not transmitting a LUT while using Lumix Flow. It's a super small thing. I could use a monitor, but like I would like it if it could do that, because then I just use my phone. Okay, perfect. I hope that made sense, because it's kind of complicated to explain with ISO. Here we are. There's a difference. Wow, I thought base and ISO were interchangeable. Doesn't mean the FX3. Not necessarily. No. So Adam, the ISO values are going to be a little bit different. So for example, I think the base, so ISO is like the lowest you can go. So if you go on the FX3, go to S-Log 3, the lowest number that you can get, I think, is your base ISO. And I think it might be a little bit, and I think 12,800 really is the base and the native at 12,800. At least that's how it's been explained to me, because like I've tried to figure that part out, and on Blackmagic you literally find out that like when you if you put the Pixis footage inside of DaVinci Resolve, if you shoot at 1250 and above, when you go on Resolve and you try to change your ISO, the lowest number you can get to is 1250. On if you shoot below 1250, say you shoot like 1000 to 200, you can change up until I think it's 200 and 1250. So it's a little bit different per camera, but yeah, the two terms are supposed to be different. It's become a norm to treat Lumix like a YouTube stepchild. It kind of is, which is weird, because like I don't know, I have a lot of cameras with different brands in them, and I feel like whenever because I'm making a Nikon video, it's a fairly long Nikon video next month. More people will, or less people will have as much vitriol for the Nikon camera than if I did a follow-up for the S1R II. And that's weird. I don't know. I think it's weird. Young, black, and beautiful. My God, you're 30. Yeah, that's what I said. 30 is young, bro. What you mean? I don't crack. What you talking about? I'm also turning 33 like in 2 months. That's why the A7 looks noisy at 500. And I send a tone and noisy. Yeah. You have to operate closer to the base ISOs, and it's just complicated because based on your camera and picture profile, they're all going to be different. I was not expecting to in other formats other than, honestly, like here's the thing with like 420 format, like the 422 is most like if you're doing VFX work, or like if you're doing effects works or you're chroma keying, yeah, 422 makes a lot of sense, in which that's fine. But realistically, like I put the Pixis right beside my S1R II. I graded it a little bit, and you could cut the two of them together. I think it's somewhere in the video. Like I'm not going to kind of go all the way to a timestamp, but when you put them side by side, and even like someone who's so far removed from this launch, I showed Brady a bunch of clips, and I never told him what camera it was, but he knew I had the Ursa 12K, and he's like, "Man, that Ursa looks really nice." And I'm like, "Yep, that Ursa looks really nice." And I just didn't say anything, and I kept waiting, and those were all screenshots from the S1R II. So I mean, 422 does have its usefulness. I just think that in like a normal scenario, most people won't know 422 from 420 unless you need it somewhere in post. Tyler Stanley is a prime example of using the S1R II in the field and creating a beautiful image but a lot of people complain about rolling shutter. People complain about rolling shutter. Here's the thing, and we've now gone to the deep end. This is a rolling shutter talk now. People complain about the Pixis rolling shutter, and then I kicked the camera. People complain about the Pixis rolling shutter, and then 3 weeks later, I have DMs as high as the eye can see of people wanting to buy Pixis cameras. So, like, is it a realistic problem? I think for some people it probably will be, but for 95%, like not 95, maybe like 80% of people, it probably isn't going to be that big of a deal. Also, just again, turn off dynamic range boost. Problem solved. The shutter readout gets faster if you just turn off the range boost. And I'd be hard pressed if people could look at a scene and know exactly that they need 12.5 stops of dynamic range or whatever the dynamic range is that you need boost for. But yeah, that's true. For the price of the S1R II, you get the GH7, the 10 to 25. The GH7 is really dope. Like I kind of regret not using it more outside of that one film set when I was an operator, but it looked really good. I think it's really cool, especially if you're like outside in daylight and stuff. Like most sensors will look dope if you have it lit properly. Bro, the S1R II versus GH7 versus the S5 IIX versus the Pixis are going to be such fun videos to create for my channel. That's a lot of cameras to compare to, and they're all so different. But yeah, I think that like what's cool about that is that they all offer a lot of value, but they're all kind of different in a lot of different ways. That's exactly what I mean leaning on. I've an old S5 and S5 IIX, but I want a B cam for the X. I'd say like, you know what? Here's the thing. And like, I know nothing, to be honest with you. Like when cameras come out, I get told either like the day before, or if it's like a trip or something, I'll know like maybe 3 weeks before. Cause I think maybe it's my last name. I don't know, but I'm always the last person to know things. But I heard rumors that there's another Lumix camera coming out in like 2 months. Was it February now? It's probably gonna be an NAB launch. Maybe. I just heard it's April, so that could be the 1st or the 31st of April. Who knows? But if that ends up happening, like maybe that would be the B camera for you, right? Black don't crack. Hey, no, it don't. No, it don't. 33 soon, March 10th. Hey, my birthday is April the 24th. So I turn 33 in 2 months, like almost exactly 2 months. Blind 7, good evening to you as well. The shadows and blacks in stream look so good. That's because we are shooting on the Blackmagic Pixis. One thing I will say, I think it was Keem mentioned it. Yeah, Keem Style mentioned it about the 422 versus like Blackmagic Raw. If you look closely enough, you'll find it. But if you look at the, I did a Pixis side by side with the S1R II. The blacks on the sweater have a little bit of a color tint to it that I couldn't get out. And I think that's just a matter of having more color information on the Pixis. What's a good, there's a lot of good cameras, but maybe you have more experience than me. Nick, I'll be so real with you. I don't know any features of the Fuji XS10. I have a GFX 50R and I use it all the time, but I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. I'm not super familiar with Fuji cameras. I only got my first one like a little while ago. Waiting on the S1H II though, but nice camera. Yeah, same. I think that was kind of the, like when we, it's so funny because I wish you could stream or you could film inside of like the room when they announce the camera, they tell us everything about it. The first thing that we did, first of all, we were losing our minds when they're like, we got like 8K, 6.4 open gate, 8.1 open gate, every single shooting mode that the FX3 already has, but it's like Cinema Sit 4K, and you can get in 422, and you could write to an SSD drive. You could USB, like when they're telling all these things, we're losing our minds. And then it ends, and we're like, wait a minute. So what's the S1H II going to be like? And like that was like one of the first things that we said. We were like, while we're losing our minds, like inside the room. And we're like, well, if this is the S1R, which is not like a video centric camera, what are you going to do for the S1H? And that's going to be super impressive. I think that's going to be a camera that is, it's Lumix's launch to lose. Like they have to put on for that one, which I think hopefully will be there. All right. Sorry, my editor texted me because we were working on a video. I accidentally deleted all of my footage for the 16 mils. Oh, sorry. So aside from Lumix, the 16 millimeter f1.8 Sony lens came out today. I was on that campaign. Somebody deleted all of the footage off my hard drive without well, the backup was on Frame.io, but I deleted all of it, and I now have to re-edit the entire video. So 32, thought you were younger. Nope, I am almost 33 years old. I got like the soul of a 8-year-old though, so there's that. What do you think about the rumored 20 to 60 f2 Lumix? What do I think about it? I think it's a great pickup if it exists. My question is going to be the size, because there's one thing about Lumix stuff that like turns me off a little bit. Their lenses, like their zoom lenses, are huge. They're huge. Like that's coming from me. They're huge. Like the I use the 24 to 70 and a 7200 while we were on the Norway trip, and those lenses are gigantic. And I know like every other brand has big zoom lenses. I think Sony's the only one that like makes a point to make them smaller. I just wonder how big a 20 to 60 f2 would be. Do you think we're going to see an update to the FX3 this year? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're going to have like a, what was it? The A7S II scenario where they'll wait till like the absolute longest amount of time. And that's from like talking to people at Sony. Like a lot of people at Sony are like, we don't have to go super fast because like, look, this is a perfect example. The S1R II came out today. The amount of Sony people that are like, I'm unswayed, I don't care. That is credence for Sony to be like, cool, we don't have to make a new camera next year because albeit these cameras are great, like the Z8 is great, the Z6 III is great, like all of these cameras are coming out and they're awesome. But if people aren't switching, I'm not losing anything. Like if you're still going to squarely keep your FX3 no matter what red-enabled RAW camera with fast readout comes out, do I got to make a second one? Probably not. And also, like, how long are you willing to wait with your FX3 for the FX3 II or whatever it is? What in the midst of all these cameras coming out, can I get another year out of you? And it sounds like yes. So I think that's why you're probably not going to see one anytime soon, or at least not this year. Hey, Kofi, do you know where I can get S-Log3 footage I can practice with, or any chance that channels that have it? I think you can get off Sony's website. I think Sony's website has a lot of like tester S-Log3 footage. I think the thing with like raw footage for people, and this happened a little bit when, who shared some stuff? I think it was like either Mark Bone or Matt Yapoya. They put FX6 footage to like test around and grade with. And then on Instagram, I literally saw people like trying to act like it was their footage, which was super weird. And like putting into their DP reels and being like, oh yeah, like I color graded it, so like it's mine. And I'm like, that's not cool. So I think it turned off, like even myself, like I don't put out raw footage like that because it turns it off. It turns off for myself. Given B&H's sale and the Pixis already, do you think there's going to be a Pixis 2 already on the way? No. So this is what I learned from Black Magic because I was talking to one of the distributors on a retailer, and they distribute for Black Magic a bunch. From what I understand, Black Magic is kind of a smaller company, and sometimes like it's a small family-owned company, and the owner sometimes just makes decisions on a whim some days. So in terms of like short-term sales, nobody knows they're coming. Like I was talking to the distributor, and he's like, "Man, we didn't even know the Ursa 12K body was coming out," and they distribute the stuff. So I think sometimes when like in the sales also, I think it's over now too, right? So I think it's a temporary thing. It looks like I got a super chat here. Hang on a second. Hey, Zach Mayfield. Zach actually stayed up till like 2 o'clock in the morning with me while I was editing the S1R video. Zach Mayfield, I love Kofi. I love the Lumix cam. Have a good stream, brother. Hey, Zach, we got to do one of these next time. This is just kind of impromptu because I'm currently downloading footage that I accidentally deleted off my cloud, and I'm just kind of killing time. I was thinking about the S5 II, but it's maybe too big for me. And the AF is meh. I mostly reportage videos, traveling, personal stuff. If the S5 II is too big, I mean, like the S9 is smaller, the A7C II is smaller, even like the Fuji XM5, which I want to use. I don't think I can because it's so tiny. It's cartoonishly small. Yo, Kofi, how's a low light compared to the Sony cameras? I don't know if I'm interested in this or possibly the Z8. Decisions. The low light's actually super usable, actually, so, which was surprising. I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. 2 days before because I realized I didn't shoot a lot of low light, and I went downtown. You get a little bit of noise at 3200. 64 is usable depending on where you are. Even like it's a bold statement, and you're going to need some denoise software. I'm not going to tell you it's perfect. Like you can shoot 12800. It's not FX3, but you could shoot it and then just denoise it in post, and it looks decent. Not perfect, but looks decent. Yeah, FX3 is still a great camera. Hang on, guys, just so we're on the same page here. Just because a camera comes out doesn't mean the camera you have has gotten worse. It just means new technology comes out. Because what happens is, and I think this is kind of an adage like to a lot of creators that have been on the platform for a while, being bored with like new camera releases. I think one thing that we have to acknowledge is like some of these releases aren't necessarily like for us at where we're at. I think they're also for people that were on that are getting on the same jump on point that we were getting onto, right? So like when I was buying an A7R III, that state, like that part of my life, is somebody else now at the A of the S1R II. So to go back and be like, oh, there's nothing exciting. I'm like, yeah, for you, there's not, because you've gone through so many camera bodies. But like someone's first high resolution hybrid is going to be the S1R II and not the A7R III. And those are like maybe 4 or 5, 6 years apart. That's who I think some of these cameras are for. But when you get people that have been on the platform for 6, 7 years, it's hard to empathize with that community of people, right? Because you think expensive camera or high quality camera, well, it must be for guys like me. And it's like, kind of, but sometimes it's somebody's first jump on point. Hang on a second, let me go to broadcast question. Would you say it's too late in its life cycle to get an FX6 in 2025? There's just one way for the potential Mark II later down the line. Here's the thing. I don't know, because I don't know, like the life cycle of FX line cameras operates on a completely different set of rules than the alpha cameras do, because the alpha cameras have like, they're cheaper, right? So the refresh rate is faster. I think the FX6, like if you need the camera now, I would just get it. I would just get it out of the way. And if a new one comes out, sell it. I buy and sell cameras all the goddamn time. So I think it's fine if you sell it. But in terms of its features in 2025, I think you're more than fine. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but the NFL signed a tech deal with Sony. So all of the cameras that are like NFL official cameras are all Sony cameras, which includes the FX6. It also includes the Burano people keep kind of trashing on. And those cameras are used at NFL football games. So, I mean, if it's good enough for the NFL, I think it's good enough for most of us. Does the S1R, that's a good question. Does the S1R II lean more towards magenta and skin tones like the S5 II? If I remember correctly, Java, I think so. Like, especially if it's like a Caucasian person, I found that, I'm pretty sure I adjusted actually I could just open up my thing right now. Oh no, I deleted it. I'm pretty sure it was a little bit magenta on Caucasian skin, but I remember it being like pretty solid on dark skin people. But also that might be because I changed the tint, but I don't remember the skin tones being bad. I thought the skin tones were really good on them. So press, I'm surprised my S5 Mark II as an extra cam still looks as good as the FX3. FX3 is still a good camera. Yeah, man. I think in terms of like image quality in cameras now is going to be more on like what you can push and pull on the back end versus what you see when it's finally done. I actually just did the Ursa 12K A roll, and that's exactly what I mentioned. I'm like, if you look at it in a vacuum, you just assume it's a Pixis with better rolling shutter or like higher resolution. But when I'm in post and I'm trying to recover shadows because I shot at 240 frames a second at 180-degree shutter and it's super dark, I could pull that information back without any noise. Like that's kind of where you're getting from some of these cameras. It's a lot of it comes down to what do you do when you're done with the footage? Not necessarily what does it look like after it's graded. And when after everything's done, it's super hard to tell, especially on like our phones that shoot 1080p. 100% lighting will improve your videos more than a new body ever will. Yes, 100%. And even that, like lights are expensive, man. Like I know that it's a very true statement, but also like if you buy a couple of good aperture lights, like you've almost bought a camera body at that point anyway. So it kind of evens out in the end. That sort of looks great, but I'm happy with my S5 to S9. Would it be nice? Yes. Necessary for me? Not at the moment. Yeah, 100%. I like there's a lot of use cases for the S1R II in my book, where especially with this Ursa having a price drop, it probably not going to happen. Like if I wanted to get an Ursa 12K and maybe like make that what I would use a Pixis for, and then use the S1R II for what I used. Like the Ursa 12K would be what I would use the Pixis for. And then the S1R II would be the Pixis, I guess. And not like, it's like a football depth chart. That would make, like, if that would be a rational decision if somebody made that. That's how nice I like the S1R II. But also if it's paired with like an Ursa, if I could match the Pixis with the S1R II, then logic would dictate that I could use it as like a B or a C camera for an Ursa. Albeit, yes, totally different like color sciences and workflows, but if there's a small job, you could do one and then use a bigger one for the other. So we need to be 3, but also Warner. I think my secondary question for you is, what do you shoot and what do you want out of a video camera? Because this is the decision between switch, don't switch, wait for something else. Because like keep in mind, like the S1R II, super powerful video camera, still photos first. Like it's still their photo biased hybrid. The big thing is that it does so well. And it's again like what was that one camera? The 5D Mark II or the 5D Mark III. It was made for stills, but when it could do video, it blew like the fact that it could also do video and stills was the point of contention. But it wasn't necessarily like not the point of contention, but it was like one of the selling points. Right. So I would say like if you need the FX3 for video centric things, I'd say maybe keep things around that ballpark. The only thing that and as much like I still haven't really used the Z6 III just yet at the time of this. The only thing about Nikon that I wish they had is just smaller lenses and like the ability to kind of size things down or size things up, where the FX3 does really well with that and still looks great. Do you have a Komodo and a Pixis, or is it just the FX3 right now? Soften, shape, cut, all that, yeah. My wallet being financially challenged is the only thing stopping me from having gear acquisition syndrome, which is a great problem to have. I'm not going to lie to you. To be fair, though, like I feel like oh, shoot, I left my steak out to defrost and it's still there. I left my steak out on the counter because I was going to make it, and then I put it there like at 4:30, and I shouldn't have done that. But it's still in the package, so we'll be fine. Hang on a second, I lost where I was in here. Adam, oh, financially well, okay. It's not about the gear, it's about what's up here. Absolutely. Now, to be fair, the gear can help you make what's on your brain a reality, 100%. But I think if you haven't kind of mastered what's in your brain, yeah, there's nothing like a new camera body is not going to do that for you. Just watched Geeky Tech video of his indoor test recording of 4K 50 frames a second, overheating warning of 30 minutes, which is super surprising because like I haven't had my camera overheat. Like the 2 points where people like kind of had problems with, like, was battery and overheating. I've had mine for like almost a month, and neither of those neither of them happened for me. And I shot a ton of stuff in 8K, a ton of stuff at 6.4K open gate. Nothing really happened, like at all. So it's kind of surprising. But if it happens, if you're shooting if you're shooting slow motion clips for 30 minutes, maybe it will happen. Shout out to Big MF Kofi. Smash that like button. Wait, Rob. Nope. We got to proofread, Rob. Nope. Hang on. We got to say pineapples when Rob does stuff. You guys know the drill. Getting blown out. Getting blown out. You got to get the Osmo Pocket 3 and call it a day. Hey, man. The whole point of these gear review videos is just topical information in case you encounter some of this stuff. And like, just look at it for entertainment, man. I feel like a lot of people just like, I don't know. There's this weird thing where like, I don't think we have fun anymore. And I think that's also what's causing a lot of points of contention for people with like camera reviews and stuff, is they don't feel like fun. Like, I don't feel like the person making the video a lot of the time is having fun or enjoying themselves. And I think that part is kind of like that drags me down more than like what the gear is, or the fact that there's so much of it. It just doesn't feel like the people that get those opportunities enjoy them as much as they did, which is kind of cool. Because like when you watch smaller channels, it's refreshing because they're actually going out of their way to like, yes, do the best videos possible, but they're also like, I'm enjoying myself. Like I get an opportunity to do the things that, you get the opportunity to do the job. And I like watching like other smaller channels far more because it feels like there's a lot more excitement about the stuff. Do you still have your Komodo X? Social ejects, aside ejects, I sold my Komodo X like a year ago, bro. When I said I was going to sell it to get the Pixis, I did. It just so happens that like Blackmagic sent me a Pixis like a while after. And then I just took that money and invested into real estate instead. Have you twisted the Ursa Cine 12 KLF yet? Rob. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you if I did. Couldn't tell you if I didn't. Yeah, no, I've been using it for the last 2 weeks. We did 3 test shoots. We did a commercial with Trish Stratus from the WWE. And footage looks really good. I'm actually working on the video today once everything's kind of uploaded into the cloud. And that video should be out on Friday, actually. But I do have to give it back on Friday, too, so I'm not excited about that. Kobe, how did you New York this summer? Would love to meet up and talk with you. How far from the city are you? From New York? New York, I am like 6 hours in a drive. In Toronto, because I'm in Toronto, I'm not in New York. I'm like 6 hours away. I think once you arrive to a certain level of pro camera, the market is just saturated. Just get what suits you better. Yeah, and like that's kind of how you're supposed. Like I don't know. I think maybe my relationship with these videos before, because I couldn't afford half the stuff, was just I watched it because I wanted something to watch. I didn't necessarily want it. I watch it because I was able to be convinced to buy it. It was just like a thing that you would watch, kind of thing. For example, like if I go and watch Dragon Ball Z, I'm not going to go out and start fighting people in the streets. I'm just going to watch it for entertainment and leave it at that. Um, because fighting people in the streets illegal and you can lose and sometimes lose your life, and I don't want to do that. And you can't get wished back by Dragon Balls. So that's how that's how I've always watched YouTube videos. And I think what's happened is we've almost gone like too deep. From a response standpoint, again, like I don't have problem with gear videos. I just think that if you're not having fun doing it, reevaluate if you're not having fun doing it. But also as a viewer, like not every embargo video is a personal attack. And I think some people are seeing it as that as well, which kind of creates that animosity a little bit. And also just burnout from seeing everything. It's fun. Yeah, the fun is going to be the best take I've heard. Yeah, because Warner, we don't have fun anymore, and it's so annoying. It's so frustrating, and I think one of the reasons why, like, as much as like I still kind of do some commercial stuff for fitness brands and gyms and stuff like that, those are cool because like I get to call the shots in terms of the vibe and energy, so it's usually like fun. Like the Trish Stratus shoot that we did, we ended the shoot when she body slammed half of my crew. Like she picked one by one, picked everybody up and threw them across the ring, and that was fun. I don't know if there's a liability issue with that, but it was fun. And I think you get a lot of people at a certain point in their careers where they like either forget how to have fun and then they also almost get jaded when other people do. And that's kind of sad, and that's a problem. Any further development on the Sinjalov videos? The people need it. I think you're going to see a collection of videos when I go to Ghana, which is a for sure thing, and it's going to be in December. We'll be going to Deti December. Like early December, and I'll probably come back in like February. So that's when you'll start to see a lot of like very Ghana specific things. Which camera I'll take with me, who knows? There's probably going to be a bunch of releases by the end of the year because we're like, keep in mind, there's like a Fujifilm fixed lens GFX camera that's coming out. The S1R II just dropped. We have heard like there's a rumor about another one coming out later on. Sony's kind of due for a camera, kind of, except like no one's been told anything and no one's heard anything. There's some things that I've heard in the Sony camp in terms of releases and stuff like that, but nothing really that I know for sure. Canon's kind of done everything but the R6 II. Nikon feels like they're cooking something up. We're in February and like all of those things are still kind of like in the talks and on the conversation. We're up 3 months in. So whatever happens by December might drastically change. Holy shit, big hope. I don't. Hey, Rob, I don't get to keep it. Blackmagic, ironically, my marketing link at Blackmagic is a very big Trish Stratus fan, and if you don't think that I use that as leverage to get one for that shoot, you're sorely mistaken. Because I led with that thing and took advantage of it, so I could borrow this camera for the shoot and not have to pay for the rental. So shout out to Blackmagic. Hey, Mario. Actually, good to see you in the stream, man. I feel like I do some of these and like you'll catch them after, but good to see you. A lot of times fun can die when it becomes a job. Yeah, you're right, Derek. I think that's what ends up happening. But like you could enjoy, like here's the thing, like not having fun at your job, I can understand because repetition breeds contempt. Try to have fun. Loosen, like everybody loosen up for God's sake. Because I don't know. I've had conversations with other filmmakers and not even like on YouTube, like people like outside of the space. And they're so wound up. And I'm like, bro, breathe. It's okay. I don't breathe because I talk fast. You're not breathing because you're stressed. And we're not even on set. Breathe. Enjoy. We're working a job that like less than 1% of people get the ability to do. Like, you don't necessarily have to pretend that things aren't problems, but like breathe. Jeez. Sorry, Derek, it's not directed at you. If I'm traveling, I'm only taking an action cam with me. My neck and my back can't handle anything else. Hey, man, that might be my spinal cord soon, bro. That's why I'm going to keep training in the gym. Although I feel terrible. I haven't gone to the gym and I've ate like crap since like New Year's Day, which is really bad. I do like my Action 5, though. Action 5 is great. Action 5 is a really nice camera. It's super solid. Rumor says more GFX photography videos are on the way. Rumor mill is correct. I think one of my big problems with... Actually, hang on a second. Let me actually bring up... If you guys are interested in knowing my little slate, I plan videos out like a month or two ahead. And then if a sponsor or something interesting comes up, I'll change things around. But for March, I'm going to do a super long, it's going to be longer than the S1R Mark II, but a super long behind the scenes for the Ursa 12K Trish Stratus shoot. And it's going to go from like concepting call. And I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you about budgets yet. I actually don't know. So I'll tell you as much of that information as possible. Organizing a Milanote, creating a shot list, raw BTS. There's a lot of like post-production stuff that we're going to talk about as well. It's almost like, I guess it's kind of like those masterclass thingies. Who knows? But that's in March. I have to do a video for Nikon for the Z6 III and the ZF because I haven't done it yet. There's a lens, which I cannot tell you about. That is out. That is the third video. That digital product I talked about, or sorry, the physical product I talked about, that's also coming out. That's the fourth video. There's a gimbal, can't tell you, and then there's a GFX video. So there's little preview at what the slate is. Now, if something else comes out, if I'm made aware of something beforehand, then this might change. But that's like generally my slate. I'm going to try to keep it to 6. I'm ready for you to make an easy rig video. I probably should, to be honest with you. Yeah, you know what? I probably should. I have a, what's it called? A Flycam Flowline 750N. Which I could only like I have to use a heavy rig for because I think the minimum payload for it is like 35 pounds or something like that. But yeah, I think I gotta buy a better easy rig. But yeah, 100% I can do that. Seen a lot of stuff on Jack Ball Diamond. Some really cool stuff happened. Alorio, I saw it. I don't know how they're gonna wrap up Dragon Ball Diamond because the last episode is on Friday because it's the anniversary of Akira Toriyama's passing. And I think the episode's supposed to premiere like 1 minute before, but I think it's gonna be a cool episode. Do you think that almost filming Filmmaking creators use Sony cameras just for the hype, or is it actually worth it? I got the AF and the light. Yeah, no, I think 100%. I think people use it because they're functional. Like I think the Sony camera thing is just like, I think what's happened is Sony cameras, they just work. Like they're great workhorse cameras. They're great at just I've never had the autofocus go on the fritz. The firmware updates are the only thing that create a small amount of panic sometimes because sometimes they break your cameras. But like they just work and they're structured. They're not super fancy looking. They're things that they work the tools. And I think for a lot of people that are in like they're doing production work out and like not making YouTube content, that reliability is more important than whether or not the thing looks pretty. So that you have to contend with that. But I think what ends up happening is as a content creator, like your ability to be flexible with the camera that you use is way more than if I'm working as a DP. Like I can take the A7C II on my desk with the 10mm lens and like that's my camera for the day. Or I can take the Ursa 12K and that's my camera for the day. Whereas if you're working in kind of video production, you have to always pick your tools based on what's going to make the best out of your clients, right? So, and for a lot of people, that is Sony. We get the low light, but yeah, it also has great low light, and the autofocus is great. So, Zach Mayfield told me, dude. Which one for video? Blackmagic full frame or Panasonic S1H or S1R II? Do you like autofocus? Because the Blackmagic full frame does not have it. So my counter question is, what do you need them for? Because in a vacuum and without context, I can't give you an accurate answer to that, my boy. Or girl, my person. I don't, and actually, there's no display picture there, so I don't know if I did that wrong. Channel analytics question: how is going live affected your channel? Creative block, I will tell you in transparency, I have lost subscribers every time I've done a live stream. However, I would say the weeks where I do live streams, subsequent videos and previous videos do a little bit better, because sometimes people, I think from the live stream and stuff, they'll watch those videos. So that helps. Also, like, even the 2 super chats that are on here is about more money than I think I made from the S1R II video and a lot less effort. So in terms of dollar amount to minutes spent on YouTube, it's a lot easier. Hang on a second. I think I scrolled all the way to the top. Ooh, my girlfriend's improv class is here. So you guys are probably going to hear stuff in the background, which is fine, which is all fine, because it's ASMR Kofi. ASMR Uncle Kofi. There we go. See, I'm going to stop that. Sorry. Yeah, I've yet to update both my FX6 and my A7S3 because I'm terrified it'll break. Yeah, Alberto, that's a real fear, man. That's literally, it's the only thing that I think that's like a point of contention with Sony, is that like even my own Sony reps are like, hey, a new firmware update came out. Wait a couple days. Just see if it's safe. And I'm like, that's not reassuring at all, but hey, it is what it is. Hey, what up? It's also cool when like fitness people come into the chat, because I'm like, this probably sounds like completely different language when we're talking about like cinema cameras and 422 chroma sampling and stuff. But like, hey, it is what it is. Hey, Bodger Lutz, best investment. Hey, we here for that. That's what we could. You see that one? That's a real one right now. You gotta go buy that Lut pack, man. You guys are tired of me doing sponsored videos? Let me see them digital products purchases go up. Sponsored by your love of color grading S-Log3 footage. It also works on Vlog as well, which I found. Are you from Cote d'Ivoire? No, I am Ghana for Chalet. I am from Ghana, so Kofi Abois. That's as Ghanaian as it comes. Have you ever actually lost out on clients due to the camera rig? I hear some people say they have, but I've never been convinced of that. Yes, I have. I think it was a red camera too. Or sorry, no, opposite. I've gotten gigs based on my camera package. So like the Komodo X, I think I said this in the video, because like it's not normal that you're going to get jobs based on your camera rig, but I would be lying if I told you that like the first 3 jobs that I worked like a week after getting the KX almost paid itself back, because people were like, oh, you have a red? Cool. Can you shoot this thing? So yeah, no, I haven't lost a gig based on my camera package, except for when I worked with Canon. Except when I had a Canon C70, because everybody had a Sony. But in terms of getting camera gigs based on the camera that I've had, it's been a few times. Like the FX6, I got a decent amount of money, and it was during the pandemic too, which was super helpful. But like I rented my FX6 out and I got like $1,000. And then the Komodo X helped out a bit, because there were certain jobs where like they're like, hey, do you have a red package? I'm like, yes. So like, can you shoot this? I'm like, absolutely. You didn't ask for my reel if I was skilled. You just wanted a red on set, but I'll take that. For M-Club class, you should stream as Uncle Kofi. It's not my improv rehearsal. It's my girlfriend's in the living room, which you might hear very faintly in the background. Actually, I wonder if I could hear them. Like it kind of. It's not that big of a deal. You guys will hear me even better because I'm closer to the audio source. That's the trick. Be close to the audio source, and then everything else doesn't matter. But yeah, I would do that, but I actually don't know everybody outside, so that might be weird. I feel you on the firmware thing. My R5C is rip thanks to the firmware software. Yeah, it sucks that like the way that you go out is firmware. It's like getting attacked by a deer. Like that's how you die. Like deer get eaten and hunted, and one of them got you. And I feel like that's not fair. I feel like that it's just like your camera dying from a firmware update. Terrible analogy, but it is what it is. You hinted at a physical product. Do you have advice on bringing creator-centric product? Do you have advice on bringing creator-centric product to the market? My advice for you is either it's a clothing item with something that somebody really wants, or you partner with a bigger company than yourself to make it for you. And with that, that is a clue as to who the company is, which I'm pretty sure the writing's on the wall there and fairly easy to guess. There's a Kofi Abois in Cote d'Ivoire too, a con from Cote d'Ivoire. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. So Tree and I'm sure Ashantis are very close together because the countries are also beside each other. Like they're super close. I'm getting a LUT. I'm beginning my filmmaking journey with my FX30. Hey, Neo, if you like the FX30, I actually think I use that LUT the most on the FX30, or the pack of them. So enjoy. It'll be fun. Keep in mind, and anybody else that buys LUTs or anything like that, like they're made to be starting points. It's impossible to create a LUT that is a catch-all for everything. It's impossible. You couldn't do it. So when people build LUT packs and you're like, oh, it doesn't work for my footage. One, it's contingent on us like properly exposing. It's also contingent on having the correct white balance for what you need. So just keep those things in mind. Hang on 1 second. Damn, okay. I tried to upload stuff from Frame.io and it wasn't working, and my editor uploaded it just fine, which is confusing as to how he got that. What's the latest product that has given you or bought you genuinely impressed by? Oh, sorry. What's the product that was either given to you or bought that genuinely impressed you? I was given them, but I do like the short stash everyday filter quite a bit. And I mean, that was like, it's not the most impressive thing in the world. And I mean, diffusion filters, diffusion filters with circular polarizers aren't the most exciting pieces of gear in the world. But what I do like, and I'm actually using it right now, is like this. Like this does have a little bit of diffusion in it, which is fine. But like I could move this to bring my skin tones back. Like with this off, my whole face looks like a mess. It looks terrible. Especially with like a big key light here, because like I'm not using a big softbox and stuff. It just doesn't look very good. It's something I'm really impressed by. That's why I made the video, because I was like, I liked the premise of using it. And if I'm not in a high lit situation, it's more than fine. Also, can you guys hear people in the background? Can you hear people in the background? Can you hear them? Because I can't hear them. I see dead people. No, I don't. Okay, so in terms of the S1R II, capping things off, I think it's a great camera. I do think that there very much is a room for having spec reviews and having that information out there. I think where sometimes I get lost on some of those videos is it's not like there isn't any context to it, for example. So what I mean by that is, if I know something is 11.7 stops of dynamic range, well, what's a scene where you would need 11.8 stops of dynamic range? Like, how do I know where that is? Right. So that's just from using the cameras and stuff like that. And what I kind of like the more experience based, I guess, reviews, is that way there's context to what the things that are being said, right? So, and I think that's what caused a lot of problems. Not really problems. I think a lot of friction with this last one is because people were running around being like, "Hey, well, the rolling shutter is terrible. This camera's garbage." And I'm like, that can't make any sense because I used it. It's in my hand. I didn't know the rolling shutter numbers 2 weeks ago. So does my feelings about the uses of this camera change because somebody told me what its rolling shutter value is? And the answer is no, because like I used it, I saw it. Like there's no, like it's hard to reconcile that thing, right? Like it's hard to be like, oh yeah, like there's no way. There's no way this camera can be good now. The rolling shutter is bad. And I'm like, but you shot a terabyte full of information on it, right? So there's that. So I think one of those things that has to happen, I think with some of the reviews that are more kind of spec based, I guess, is exactly that. Like, give me context. If something has a certain amount of dynamic range, cool. What does that mean in real life? If something has a slow shutter readout, what does that mean necessarily? So like how far can you go in rolling shutter where it's unacceptable? And which environments is it or not unacceptable? Those are kind of things where I kind of wish, because if we had those conversations earlier, then a lot of these points of contentions wouldn't happen, right? Because if I said like, hey, 40 milliseconds of rolling shutter is really bad. It's like, cool. What is it really bad if it's on sticks? Is it really bad if it's handheld? Is it really bad if it's on a Dana dolly or a cine lifter? Like what is it really bad at, right? And then we can gauge, well, I could live with 23 milliseconds, but 40 is too much. And then if you have those things, then a lot of these conversations I think would be a lot healthier, but who knows if that'll change. If I get only two lenses for the FX30 for filmmaking, what would you advise? I'm trying to remember what the crap. I think Sigma makes like a 18 to 55 f2.8 or something like that, like something in that range. I would get one of those guys, and then 55, but it's 1.5, so it's like 75. And I would get like a super wide, super 35 lens for Sony. Like whatever you like, the widest lens you can get, spending the least amount of money, which I think is like the 10, 11 millimeter. I get like an 11 millimeter, I think it's like a 1.8, I think. And then that like 15 to, yeah, like 15 to, I think it's not 15, it's 18 to 55, I think. Also, there's not that many people on stream. I have not been streaming consistently. That's why that's a problem. What usability features of a camera are most important to you? Can I switch modes can I switch the modes that I need to switch in a not obtrusive way? So for example, one thing that I learned about the S1R II is, and I still haven't found it yet. I haven't figured it out yet. And I'm sure it exists and I just haven't done it yet. I don't have a button that I could choose between de-squeezing and not de-squeezing anamorphic footage. So if I decide to put a blazer lens on this, I have to like go into the menu, go to the anamorphic settings, and then change it from there. I think you can map a button to it, but like stuff like that. I do like the fact that it has a ton of friggin' buttons. It has so many buttons. You can map things to whatever it is. But can I switch between modes fairly easily? I think that's super usable for me. My big thing is skin tones, bro. If you like, if these don't look good, then nothing does, right? And that's why I like Blackmagic cameras so much. If your skin tones aren't on point, bro, like it's hard to get behind. Super hard to get behind, really. What I like about like Sony, Lumix, I don't know if Nikon's got on it yet, is that you could put LUTs built in. So I'll know what my grades are going to look like in camera. Whether or not it bakes it is kind of irrelevant to me and sometimes not preferred. But at least I know what my skin tone, like where my skin tones are kind of be when things happen. What else is there? Size, not a big deal because I have giant hands. So the bigger the camera, honestly, the better. Battery life, I'm not super hung up on because like, I think that was a point of contention, I think, in other videos. Battery life isn't bad. And also just like have more than one battery. I think it's kind of a nothing burger. Trying to think what else. And like, it depends on the camera. Like if I'm buying a cinema camera for cinema purposes or like just production purposes, I don't care about autofocus. If I'm getting like a hybrid camera, like a A7C II or this S1R II or the S5 IIX, something that does have autofocus, I would like if you have autofocus, be good at autofocus. If you don't have autofocus or you're not meant to have autofocus, fine, doesn't matter. But give me something else, like just give me like, like B-raw or something like that. So yeah, I would say focus. If your camera does have focus, it should be good at focus, skin tones, and can I maneuver different things on the camera when I need to? If those three things are satisfied, like most of the time, I'm probably gonna be pretty happy with the camera. Rolling shutter notwithstanding. So good question. That was a good one. If you could persuade camera companies to innovate on a feature, what feature would that be? Would you want it to be better? Hang on a second. If you could persuade camera companies to innovate on a feature, what feature would that be? What would you want to be better in cameras? I mean, I think we kind of go back to that processing thing, right? Like I wouldn't mind if there was better shutter readout on stuff. I also would like if like some of these smaller hybrid cameras had the ability to, I was like just downloading something for my editor because I really do have to get this stuff. I also wouldn't be opposed to, I think I screwed that up. I totally wouldn't be opposed to things like having like a built-in receiver for wireless transmitters or built-in receiver for audio, or just like the in-body audio looks or sounds good. So that way I'm not stressing out about like, do I have the proper microphone or like, are my microphone settings good? It's like, if I could just do that in camera, like I'd love that. Yeah, I think a lot of things are just like removing friction. I don't care about necessarily having like, do I need more resolution? No, but like give me a good readout and just put some of like wireless stuff that's in there. I think it'd be fine. Sorry, that was a distracted answer because I got a download that came through and I really needed to download it and I still haven't done it yet. Oh, that's not good. Oh God. Okay, what have I done? Oh, well, there we go. That's what it is. Great question, Derek. Yeah, Derek asked a really good question about the things that I think will be things that need in a camera. Low pass filter problem on the Lumix S1R II. I haven't noticed one yet. Then again, like I said, my threshold for like how much sauce I need in image quality for a lot of things is a little bit lower because it's stuff that like I don't care about, to be honest with you. Like someone told me about like the sensor smearing in high dynamic range situations on the dark areas, and I'm like, yeah, it's there. Like I'm not like be a lie if I told you it wasn't there, but also like in a vacuum, I don't care. Like it wouldn't bug me. Sorry, it wouldn't stop me from shooting. I should probably say that. That's probably a better way of explaining that. Thanks for the insight. I find that I'm chasing more usability. Apps saving experience quality pretty much comparable between most cameras. Yeah, that's 100%. I agree with that. I think I'm far more interested in whether or not something's usable than I am whether or not it has the best quality in the world, because the quality is so good. And I can, with the power of color grading, how flexible footage is, like for the most part, you can make things look good. Now, that's not to say I don't appreciate when something does look good, because for example, like the Pixis is a good example. When I use my FX3, when I use the Pixis, I know that I'm going to get more out of the image out of the Pixis. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate it, but I also appreciate the portability of something that's a little bit smaller. So, how much camera critique community do you think is being dictated or swayed by the run and gun community versus the big production filmmaking community? I think it's here. I think it's a lot of the run and gun community and the social media community, and I think one of the evidences of that is the Sony Burano, for example. There are very skilled DPs and filmmakers that use a Sony Burano that absolutely loved what it had to offer, and that's why they made the camera. And I know that because I did the workshop for Sony Canada for it. There was a lot of people that like found a lot of use for it, and it was a very particular person, and the particular person was a person that never spent a lot of time on YouTube. But then you go to YouTube and people are yelling about, well, there's no rolling shutter and there's no open gate and there's no this and there's no that and there's all these things that are missing. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not an FX3, and it's not meant to be an Arri Alexa, and it's not meant to be a Red Raptor replacement or anything like that. It's meant to be its own thing in a segment that Sony's been catering to for however long. But the big production communities can have different opinions on what's important and what's not important, except those people they're not on social media, right? So yeah, I do think you're right. I think a lot of the things, the critiques on new releases are dictated by people that like shoot weddings, and there's no disrespect to those people, but the judgment on some of these releases are very much focused from a particular user for everything, and I think that's kind of tough because it's only one piece of the story. It doesn't tell the entire outlook on how things will go. And that's also the thing that a lot of people had problem, like a lot of like filmmaking. And that's kind of where you get the whole like filmmaker versus YouTuber thing, right? Is that when people are so loud in one direction and don't have the ability to open their minds to the idea that like other people in video production exist, then you have points of contention like that. So good question though. What were your starter cameras and humble beginnings of your career? Would you still use them? Man, I mean, I wouldn't use them now, I don't think. Um, I have a Sony A5000 when I first started, and I think when I started doing like video for real, I was gonna say I think I used the A7 III for the most of things, and I think I would use it again, like if push came to shove and I had to use it, I definitely would. But with all the options now, man, it'd be super hard for me to be like, yeah, let me use the A7 III for a while and see how that goes. Damn, came home for the gym and this live is still going. Love to see it. Yeah, man, I'm just chilling. I am doing my best to download this BTS footage for this Ursa video, and I decided to go live while doing it because I could multitask. That's why we're here. When I'm done downloading this footage, that's when I'll go, which I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon. It's going to take a while. The dual native ISO change in the S1R II seems weird different. Is the sensor that much better? It's always stick to 640 4000 as a rule of thumb. Keep in mind, so we actually asked this one. We actually we asked that to Lumix, and they actually made a really good point. They said, I think the reason why people are a little bit confused with the lowness of it and also the functionality of lowness of it is that when you go to higher ISOs, those ISOs are going to be a bit usable because where the ISO value you're using, also, I'm out of focus, and you guys just didn't tell me you're terrible friends. There we go. Because the ISO, like the highest dynamic range is at the lower ISOs, when you move up, the footage should be cleaner than had you had started higher up and like gone the other way. That's kind of how they explained it to me. I'm not great at explaining it that, but when I do the low light tests and stuff on it, it looks super usable. Like literally up to like 6400, I'm like, I could put like a little denoiser in DaVinci Resolve and I think it'd be fine. So take that with a grain of salt, obviously, but like, I think it's weird at first, and then you use it and you're like, oh, like it's not the end of the world. You'll be fine. Right. So also, I really hope you guys can't hear things in the background, but I think because this microphone picks up everything, maybe if I put like my hands like right here, maybe you can't. Like, can I block this out? Can I just do it like this? Anyways, Evan's in the cut. What up? The overheating is one thing that was tough to cop in my issue. Overall, incredible camera. I'm surprised, Jason, because like, I mean, we talked about this off stream, and I think the issues, like some of the issues that you had, I never encountered. For example, like overheating. Mind you, I live in Canada, and that's, I hear the voices. I'll take that. Yeah, some of the issues with like the overheating, like I never experienced whatsoever, and I left the camera on for like the majority of when I was shooting with it and messing around with it. Also, the battery life things people had problems with, and I didn't have those problems either, which was kind of a different thing as well. So yeah, it's super tough. That sucks. Also, you're in Australia, bro. It's one of the hottest places in the world right now. But it just sucks that it does overheat despite having a fan. Me watching this, doing top-down shots with my S1R II. Hey man, you let me know how you like it, because I think you had it a little while too. But yeah, I think it's great, but also it's super fun. It's kind of nice, and I wish I did my video after the fact. I wish I didn't do it for launch day. I would have got a little bit more in, a little bit more like footage in, and had more time to make a good video. Downloading footage and streaming. God, Wi-Fi. Nah, I got that fiber 5G, fam. I got the, I don't know, whatever Bell thing it was, and they did a sale on it, and I got grandfathered into it, so it's good. I can't complain. That steak is sweating all over the counter. No. It's good. We good. It's in the fridge. We good. I'm gonna make it like right after. I hear the voices you hear in your head. Hey, well, you better tell them to shut up then. If you could hear the voices in my head, just tell them to pipe down sometimes, bro. It's too late at night for that. If you had to choose one for the rest of your career, would it be tripod or gimbal? Tripod, 100%. Easy. I'll take a good tripod over a Ronin 2 any day. Do you ever want to make a feature or a short? Short working on. Hopefully you can shoot in May. Feature? No, actually. And I don't know if that's a workflow thing or it's just like I could watch a feature. I don't care to make one. That sounds like a gigantic undertaking, and I think where I am right now, I'm pretty happy with where things are. So that might change too. Like my taste might change, and it does all the time. So I could see that changing, but currently no. Hang on. Okay, overheating. I need to do testing on it more because I got this camera to show the overheating symbol after 8 minutes. So how did everyone get overheating on their camera? I didn't get any overheating on my camera. I mean, like when I saw everybody else having overheating issues, I was confused. I'm like, but how did that happen? Because it still hasn't happened for me. And I don't know what I've been doing right or wrong, but I haven't had the overheating warning even show up. Yeah, I did a decent amount of overheating test myself, and it was a slight issue. Yeah, so I don't know. Again, I don't know how everyone else got overheating. I have not still. Yeah, I'm with you. I should have had waiting for my video after launch. Well, my schedule and content. Yeah, I think so my thing that I'm going to try to do now is, because I spend like a ton of money on some of these videos, like between like having an editor, paying location, paying talent, and like just getting test footage at the end of the day too, really. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a more concerted effort in like, hey, if I'm going to spend that amount of money, like make a project, and then if the video comes out later, the video comes out later. Because me not doing that has caused a ton of issues, and I don't like that. because now I've spent a bunch of money and I haven't got anything back from it, right? Like I don't have a portfolio thing um, to have at the end of the day, which sucks. I was running HDMI 77 degrees, 32-bit float audio, metal cage around the center of the camera. See if express type A. Right, not direct sunlight. Fun was on fan was on 2.2. And Matt, did it overheat? You didn't tell us the end of the story. What's the end of the story? Matthew, did it overheat? What happened? Um hang on 1 second. One Sackler over 10 equals 10 Zhuins. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that to the bank, man. Zhuin makes really great gimbals. DJI makes better gimbals. And there, I said it. But like they're also on a budget. So if you don't want to spend RS4 Pro money, you can. Bobby Lasers, what up, bro? Yeah, honestly think Lumix and hey, I'm gonna put this over here so it's easy to read. I honestly think Lumix and honestly Lumix are in the same position as Fuji with the XS2H and the XS2. They still need the S1H with a stacked or partially stacked 6K sensor. Yeah, I think the second, and you know what's wild about that is we have so many hopes and dreams for the S1H II. We do. And I do. And I was in like my entire experience on this Norway trip was what are you guys going to put in the S1H II? My only kind of like reluctant sigh is even if they do it, what's probably going to happen is that you're going to have people that are going to be mad just because it's not a Sony, regardless. But I would say I would love to see them put a stack sensor in there or like just pick up the Nikon semi-stack sensor and make something great. Finally get to catch the live stream. Yeah, Charlie, you're back again. You're back in the cut, bro. I should live a lot more often. It's been about like 2 weeks. But bro, based in the UK, it's cold as fuck here as well. Not Canada cold, but cold. Overheating is a slight issue, but depends on how you record it. Yeah, like I was recording like 8K in interviews like 2 days ago, and I had to record like 6 of them. And I was recording double cam. I was shooting like B camera was on the S1R II, and then the Pixis was A cam. And actually, that's where the test footage is from. Nothing happened, and like I think that interview session was like 45, maybe an hour of like just back to back people. I didn't have a problem shooting an 8K, so I don't know if I did something. I didn't turn the fan on high either, so who knows? Yo, Kobe. Hey, what up, Mighty? Also, I'm so surprised you guys can't hear any of the things in the background because I can totally hear everything. But also, I guess because the microphone's like an inch from my face, it doesn't matter that much. Oh, yo, I'm torn right now. Pixis or Ursa G2? I'm not a fan of the Pixis rolling shutter, but I do love the new color signs of the Black Magic, and I'm not saying the old one is bad. So which one? That's a tough one. I would still maybe go Pixis and then just it depends on what you're shooting. Cause like I'm a big like the also how much is the Ursa Cine G2? Sorry, random aside. How much is the Ursa Cine G2 and can we save a little bit of money and then just get a better camera? I don't know. My thing is that if a new camera exists and the old one doesn't seem like it's gonna get a lot of support, which I don't know if the Ursa Cine G2 will. Because I think that's a little bit older. I wouldn't do it. Like I generally don't, and that's mostly because of the support thing, not necessarily because the camera's bad. Sybil popped up 8 minutes, and then I was done with the short interview, so I didn't see the full time. That for me, and like truthfully for me, when I think about it, like I don't really have super long takes of stuff, anyways. Even when I'm shooting interviews, like the interview was still like 30 to 40 minutes. I can't remember. I couldn't remember the exact number. That didn't have a lot of problems, but at the same time, like I don't think I record even at 4K for like an hour. Mind you, keep in mind this camera is also like not supposed to be the video centric camera. So like if the S1H II overheated, I think that'd be more of a problem than the camera that's usually made for stills but has the ability to shoot video. Honestly, the RS4 is so worth it. Yeah, I have the RS4 Pro in my storage unit. It's not here. But I use it all the time, and it's great. To me, the S1H II is a photo camera with nice video features. I think you might be saying the S1R II is a nice photo camera with video features. To which I would agree with you 100%. And also those video features, excellent. My main issue was 4K 60 mode for overheating. I personally think the Auto 2 fan profile is not good at all. Need to use normal profile. Weird. Okay, so that makes sense because I don't think I shot 4K 60 at all. No, that's a lie. I did for testing footage, but I didn't shoot it for long periods of time because in a real life situation, I don't really use 60 frames. I don't really use slow motion, to be honest with you. So I would pay 4,000 USD for a B S1H and with the straight money. There's a funny thing. I think I said that on Twitter 2 years ago, and I'm like, if they just made a BS1H Mark II with everything they might have put, like even I think even it was like the S5 II X stuff. If they just put that into a box and made it not overheat and like took away the crop, everybody would be super happy. From what I haven't heard anything concrete, but based on where things are, it seems like the only option is like an S1 II and or S1H II and nothing else. So I think it'd be cool if they finally just gave us what we wanted. Kazi, hey, what's up? Hey, what up, bro? The Magic Cube camera. Hey, you know what? Cube cameras, don't sleep on Cube cameras. They're very nice to rig out, especially if it's video centric, right? So used same price. Hey, the Ursa G2 used. Hang on, Aaron. Okay, Aaron, start again for how much it costs and which camera it is, because I think I lost track of which one it was and it confused me. But I'll be able to try to answer that one. The 32-bit flow audio using the XLR2, but Kofi, did you record an SD card CF Express Type B? I exclusively use CF Express Type B because I have 4 1 terabyte cards. So I don't know if that changes anything. And let me know if it does change anything because I don't actually know. $10. Hey, from Cam. Sorry, I almost said Cat. I was gonna say Super Chat and Cam at the same time, and then it ended up being Cat. Which, I mean, if you know Cam, it's not that far from the truth. Just kidding. Wow, so much rolling shutter on this live, man. You know what's funny? Me and Cam talk about this all the time. Like it was weird when we use the camera in real life, and we didn't mention. I don't think we even mentioned the word rolling shutter the entire Norway trip because we didn't care. But then when we hear about, hang on a second, something's trying to log into my computer. Software update. You can do that later. But yeah, when we come back and make our videos, and then like rolling shutter was the problem, we were all kind of like, oh, well, I mean, like it's not super fast, but like everyone's that mad about it. It's kind of surprising. So, people, the slower AK sensor of the S1 II price is actually okay. They need to improve the fan profile in Auto 2 and Auto 1. Definitely use normal or maybe fast to manage overheating better. Oh, okay, fair enough. Or I mean, like whatever I left it at, I'll just leave it at that because it didn't affect me at all, which is still confusing. That's funny. It's funny that Cam paid $10 to laugh at rolling shutter, even though I'm not using the S1R II to stream on this, but I'll take $10, no problem. That exchange rate is beautiful in Canada right now. I hope you're doing well. I'm still hesitating to get the FX3, the S5 IIX. My question for you, Alagali, is do you need open gate? Do you like shooting in open gate? Do you like the prospect of shooting open gate? Do you need anamorphic support? And do you shoot a lot of handheld and need stabilization? If the answer is yes to 3 of those, although I think I only asked 3 questions. If your answer is to more than 2 of those, the S5 IIX. And if you are someone who needs like really good audio built into the handle, you don't mind getting cheaper lenses because it's a smaller sensor. When you want a Sony workflow, which I have no problems with, and also really decent readout speed, the FX30. Also, if you want to just get a camera so you can consume all 60,000 videos that I've made on the FX30, get the FX30 too. Hang on a second. Also, I'm constantly talking because I could hear my headphones. Everybody else in the house, you guys can't hear it. But if I could hear it, then I'll freak out and I'll start like being like, "Oh crap, you guys can hear this." Cam out here with a 2-hour shill podcast. Loved it. Hey, I think eventually me and Cam are gonna cast together. I think the problem is we don't know how to get Ecamm to have 2 people on at the same time. I at least don't know how to do it. So. What can you pair the 24-70 with wide lens for the FX30? I would assume that your natural next, like if you need a wide angle lens for the 24-70, I think it's just 16-35, man. But we have to have FX3 finally. Hey, that's dope. Kobe will be jump on stream, chop it up, talk the S1R II, save Lumix low key since the S9 launch has been interesting. I think I might do that because I think the hard part is I go to Maui like in a week. Shoot, I go to Maui in a week, like next Sunday. Um, we'll see how far I get in these videos that I haven't done. Also, because I've deleted most of the footage that I've had for the videos I have for the next couple of weeks, and I'm trying to refilm all that, which I probably should do eventually. But yeah, I think the state of Lumix, I think, is going to be okay. I think the people that love Lumix are going to love Lumix. I do think that some of their new cameras, after they kind of finish like their kind of Canon run, where like they come out with everything they come out with, um, I think it'll be a pleasant surprise. But also, I kind of low key hope that like, truthfully, I kind of hope we all have like a deadline of when cameras are going to come out. Like by next year, like December 31st, 2026, everybody release what they want to release, and then we all just shut up about it. Like we all just don't release cameras for like 5 years. Like it's like a time block. So we let technology catch up, because now these updates are so incremental that it's like it kind of doesn't matter anymore. My niche is event, so low light is the environment. Yeah, so then the FX3 sounds like it makes a lot of sense for you. FX3 and fast lenses. Do you recommend the Sony 16mm f1.8 or Sigma f1.4? I cannot answer that in completely unbiased faith, because I did use the 16mm f1.8 prior to launch. I just didn't post my video today because I accidentally deleted all my footage, and I'll post it tomorrow. I hope, who knows. But I would say the 16mm, because that's the one I've actually used. So G2 used is the same price as the Pixis. Oh, I mean, if you don't mind a smaller sensor, I don't think you'll have a gigantic problem. And also, like the Ursa Cine G2 still looks really good regardless before the new color science anyway. But then again, I like the Pixis, so I think it's up to you depending on what you want to do. So, Aaron, to be honest with you, that was not a definitive answer on what to get, because I don't know. If that was me, it would be completely based on the accessories that I can get immediately and how much do I care for the new thing. Which I care for the new thing, because I like having support from the company if something goes wrong. S1R II is $29.99, which is S1H II $36.49. Even if it was $4,000, I think it's still, if the margin of improvement is the same degree as the from the S1R to the S1R II is the same degree from the S1H to the S1H II, I could pay $4,000 for it, no problem, even 45. Why do we give more weight to camera spec sheet review guide than the insights of someone like yourself actually using the camera in real world conditions? I mean, this is going to be like a lukewarm take, and I actually don't mean malice in this, but I think sometimes when you go to the spec reviews for a lot of things, it caters to people that don't actually shoot most of the time. There, I said it. And I think because what ends up happening is that because those spec numbers and how we have conversations more become talking points, and they do become things that are actionable in the real world. And that's also part of the reason why, like, when you like and Cam's still in the chat, so he'll probably know this, like the troll comments and all that other stuff being like rolling shutters terrible, like the camera's trash. It's generally from people that don't have portfolios, because they're not people that are shooting, right? So how do you enter in a conversation when the only thing you can go off of is the spec sheet numbers from a third party without any context, right? And that's why I said, like, context matters a ton when we're talking about some of these specs, because then you'll have this division between what does the spec sheet say and then what does a person using it do, right? And then what ends up becoming the thing is that, well, if you're somebody who shoots a lot or somebody that has intentions of actually using this thing, what you'll do is that you'll just look at the person's footage and say, like, well, can I see myself in those scenarios? And if I could see it's like for example, if I could see myself shooting like Cam Mackey, super running gun, he's strapping his camera to cars and stuff on giant Hydra alien arms, a lot of handheld stuff, maybe a little bit of gimbal work, whatever the case might be, maybe some stuff on sticks. If I can see his footage in this particular camera and everything checks out for me from looking at it, then the only thing is somebody who shoots that consumes his content. The only barrier of that is just skill acquisition. However, if I'm somebody who doesn't shoot and has no intention of actually shooting, well, then my first inclination is probably going to be just yell spec sheets at people and tell you why you're wrong, right? But generally speaking, a lot of those types of reviews give the ability and empower people that don't actually want to get behind the camera. And I think it's easier to comment on the bodybuilder and who you think is going to win at the Olympia stage than it is to get in the gym. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I mean the Sigma 14mm f1.8. I think it's a fairly big lens if I remember correctly. The 16mm is tiny. Like I don't have it. Like Sony already has it back again. Like it's tiny. Like it's like it. I think I do a hand comparison. My hands are huge, but like it's maybe like that big in my hand. Like it's really small. I think there would be a fair difference between the 6K stacked or partially stacked sensor with more traditional doing ISO 680 or 800 base ISO. I can agree with you. I'd also say like don't sleep on the 200 base ISO because it actually is pretty clean. And even if I go to 1,000 and like even a little bit more than 1,000, I find that it does look pretty good. It's a weird jarring thing at first, but like I didn't find a problem with the ISO values being lower. I wish people would shut about the FX3 Mark II when it's coming. Bobby, as somebody who's made more FX line content than probably anybody on YouTube, same. and I wish that they stop asking me like I'm gonna tell you even if I know, because I don't know. And like if you need the FX3, just buy the FX3. Just get it. It's fine. Like the camera's not going to be worse when the FX3 Mark II comes out, if it comes out. Some folks suffering from gear paralysis by analysis. Best gear won't matter if you don't have something interesting to film. We love to hear that. That is based. Is that what the kids call it? It's based. I remember Based God. That guy's hilarious. In the chat for the deleted footage. Damn. Yeah, man. I'm literally watching it on Frame.io as I'm like standing here. I'm watching it upload as it's going. Also, I just got a shot. Oh, that's a tattoo. I just got a shot of my boy's hand as he's building my camera, and it's ashy. Should have got him that lotion on set. That's my fault. I failed as a director if I don't get my boys the lotion. I'm thinking about getting an Ursa. I'm thinking about getting an Ursa. Like I'll tell you a spoiler alert for this Ursa 12K video. I want one. Like I don't know if I'll get one, but I want one. And I want one because I think that like for the jobs that I have, so for example, like I shoot for, and if anyone's in Canada, like we have a commercial for Movati Fitness in like a month. And then I'm working with Basics, the same company that like has worked with Keon Coleman and Trish Stratus, and we're going to Dubai and we're doing all these other things. That would be the camera I want to bring for those things. I want that footage to look as like crazy as possible. And the fact that they lowered the price, and the fact that even if I like build up into that camera, like it might cost like the amount of specifications that are in it plus building it out might cost $11,000, which is far less than like it's a third of the price of buying a used Venice without rigging it out and stuff like that. And you could still get a lot of the same oomph that you can get out of the footage and the flexibility and stuff like that. If I work on a job where I just deliver footage, which is like a lot of them nowadays, and I have to deliver to like a colorist or a post house or whatever the case is, I can do that on that camera at a much lower price. So to be honest with you, I'm thinking of the Ursa as well as more of a production camera. I don't know if it'll put a bunch of videos online about it. I probably will, knowing me. But as a production machine, I think it's great. Cam can make an iPhone 4 footage look good though. Yeah, so then that means that there's no excuse, right? Like if Cam can make the footage look good on an iPhone 4, then that means the only difference between you and having good footage is skill acquisition. It has nothing to do with the camera. So that should be one of those things where, and I'm just razzing at Jason. But that like everybody kind of makes that argument sometimes in some of these videos, and like, oh, well, you're a professional, you make the camera look good. I'm like, cool. Well, if you put on the same shoes, then run just as fast. If you can't run just as fast, then get in the gym and start training, right? Like that's supposed to be, like that thought process is supposed to happen. Just the other side of that thought process is, cool, well, now you have the tools, do the thing, right? And buying the tools on its own doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be good at doing the thing. And that's not Cam's fault. That's on the viewer. That's on us, right? So I don't know. That's something to consider. Hey, Bobby, a super chat with $30. God dang, and it's Canadian. Okay, we could buy the good groceries this week. Thank you for all your content. You are a fountain of knowledge and advice. Thanks, man. I know some things, and the stuff I don't know, I shut up about. There's another super chat down here. We're gonna get there in a second. Hang on a second. Aaron Frisbee. Hey, respects, man. Here to support, but ooh, Jesus. Hey, respects. Yo, it's still February, bro. We good. That threw me off. I did not think you were gonna do that. Hey, respects, bro. Thanks for the super chat. Thank both of you for the super chat. Thank you for the insight. Really appreciate it. Hey, respects, man. My work is garbage. The only reason why I get views is because I'm a sellout. Hey, then I don't know what that means for me, bro. I'm okay. I don't know. I think if you guys have any perception of how I am as a DP in the grand scheme of things, I am like average at best. I'm just enthusiastic about the craft and I like things a lot. And I like tech a lot too. And I like showing tech in cinematic ways. And I also like giving information. So there's that. Love, bro. Hey, respects, man. Hell yeah, brother. Your room set is what I love. Hey, that's surprising because like I'm always super insecure about like how my YouTube setup doesn't look as good as everybody else's. Because this room is very awkwardly shaped. So being able to like kind of like light from a window and all that other stuff like doesn't happen. So I always get super weary about that. Kofi, we talked to Dustin about it. Have I talked to Dustin about what? I need specifics. What have I not talked about Dustin to? I talk to Dustin all the time. In fact, my girlfriend has now fully taken the Lumix S9. It is now her camera. It's no longer mine anymore. And she took Dustin's whole course, and now she knows how to use it pretty well. The Ursa City 12. Yeah. Is there a way I could reach to talk to you about my future film projects? We're based in Panama City, Panama. Anthony, I'd say it's very touch and go. Feel free to ask questions on the live stream because this is generally the only times I have free time until I get back from Maui, which is until the middle of March. So I feel like you might need questions answered a little bit sooner than that. Or at least like I'm assuming so. Feel free to ask questions in here, man, because I want to have one-on-one consult call time, but just how crazy particularly March is right now, I don't know when I will. But during these live streams is absolutely the times where like you can ask questions and stuff like that. Yeah. What up? Best way to make use of an 8-bit camera like the ZV-E10. Shoot a lot. Be very intentional with how you expose images and where you put your camera. I dropped that. That's very noisy. And go from there, man. You can make it like every camera is going to look base amount of really good. But yeah, I'd say just make sure you understand how to expose properly and light. And it sounds like you want you to shoot a project for him. Oh. I mean, that makes Panama's. Send me an email if that was the case. Sorry, I thought you meant consult calling. If that's the case, if you require the services, send me an email. I'll try my best to get back to you. Actually, I probably will get back to you fairly soon. Actually, also depends on when. It also depends on when. We have a TV shooting around the world. That's dope. Still rocking the ZV-E10, film HLG, and get lights. Yeah. I don't remember like the 8-bit Sony cameras. I think you did have to shoot HLG, and I think that's how you got like decent footage that looked good right away. The film guy, yo to yourself. I hope you're also healing up, man. Like I know you've been kind of in and out with some health stuff, so I hope that's been going well. Fixing my message. Have you talked to Dustin about the 12K Ursa? He is thinking about getting one as well at the end of the year. I haven't talked to Dustin about that actually. I know me, Mike Tobin, and Brady Bassett have all been like, yo, we really, really want one, and we like have things that we want to shoot stuff on with it. But I didn't know Dustin was trying to get in the Ursa mix. Actually, I didn't know he was a big Blackmagic guy. Honestly, to be honest with you, I know he got the Pixis recently because I was on the live stream. Is your email in here? Sorry, no. I think I could type. Can I type out comments in here? Yeah, I can. VE@gmail.com. I'm pretty sure I spelled that right, and I'm gonna put it in there now. How much can you go before 800 before the noise creep? How high can you go before like 3200? Maybe. I generally don't like. if I'm at 800, like 2 stops is like the most I'll go, and then I'll just go to, like, sometimes I just default to 12,800 and then I ND filter my way back. Other than the base ISO of 800 and 1200, how low can you go? Low is fine. I think you just have to be okay with being fine with, like, if you have a high, like, say you have a high dynamic scene and there's a window in the back. If you go lower than your base ISO, that window is going to get blown out and you can't get it back because you lose more highlight information in the lower ISOs. But your shadow detail looks really good, so you have to kind of make that decision on how you want to do things. I think. Okay, that's. You should think more about the need than the wants. Yeah, absolutely. I know. Like, here's the thing. The need and the wants coincide. Like, I had, like, the context of it makes a lot of sense, especially after this Trish shoot, especially how easy it was to actually deliver footage and have good looking stuff. And with the what's it called, the CF Express Type B module is easy to transfer footage over, way easier than the. It was a lot to do the years of 12K with the 8 terabyte, whatever it is. But I'm always gonna have a production camera, to be honest with you. I'm always gonna have a bigger production camera. This is the first, like, the Pixis takes it up right now, but I'm always gonna have one because I do a bunch of work outside of YouTube. So whatever is the best thing that could fit that, and if I have the money for it, I will absolutely do it. And there's nothing you can do to stop me, Mighty Mickey. We sincerely ask a tutorial about how to color grade your project, the softwares you use, layers, and how you use Premiere specifically. Well, I'll tell you this. How I use Premiere specifically is not at all, because I use DaVinci Resolve. But yeah, there's some color grading footages, color grading videos already on the channel. There's a bunch of them, actually. But if there's anything specific, I'm all ears, to be honest with you. Thanks. Code tap. I don't know what that means. What does code tap mean? Because if I repeat it, I might just be getting myself in trouble. I hope I don't get canceled after saying that. I'm old, man. So if I had 4 times over, then buy it. Why does it, sometimes it used to be 2, then it became 4. I can buy it 2 times over. So if that helps out at all, then yes, I can. Starting to get more into audio side of things. Any go-to mics for run and gun? Honestly, Nate, I bought Sennheiser mics like 5 years ago, and I have not deviated from them since. I have an MKE 600. I still have a set of the G4 Lavs. I have like DJI mics and stuff like that, but I've had those Sennheisers since like 2020. If I'm shooting night scenes, I'm generally shooting as long of an ISO as I can with the lighting I have available. Yeah, so then that means that the camera that can work the best in uncontrolled lighting scenarios is your best friend. I don't know what a long ISO means though, so I also I might have got that wrong. Faux, is it Faux or is it Fox? Because I saw you on Brandon Washington's live stream the other day. I think it was like yesterday, and he said Fox, and I'm like, I feel like it's just Faux because if you speak French, that's what it is. But yo, what are the odds Lumix has a box style body in the works now that the S1R II is out? I wouldn't put it past them, and I think, like, the conversation that we've had with Lumix about, like, hey, like, we should get these things. I would say that in terms of like being receptive to actually like making stuff for their cameras based on feedback, which is the reason why some of these trips are really valuable. I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them making a BS1H Mark II, because there already is a BS or BG1H, something like that. There already is like a box style video centric camera that already exists. So I wouldn't put it past them just making like another one. Oh, there you go. Finally, I got an invoice from my gaffer. I could pay this guy now. HLG2 or S-Log2 with 8-bit comes out great once exposures correctly. However, it struggles with blacks, and that's when you need to upgrade to 10-bit for most explicitity. Yeah, I could agree with that. I would say like that jump when I had the A7 III from 8-bit to 10-bit, that was life changing, bro. That shook me to my core. It was fun. I want you to have money when you buy it, so wait till you can buy it 2 more times. Mighty Miggy, I will tell you this: the current junction in time, we good. and I don't mean that in like a braggy we're balling kind of way, but I think what's interesting about this YouTube thing and like knowing what's coming up and stuff in terms of like videos and opportunities and stuff coming up in the next couple of months, being able to buy it 2 more times is something that is a conversation that like this interaction will change in context in like 28 days. Or I try to just pitch Black Magic, let me keep it. Then we don't have to worry about buying it. There, I said it. Daima though, hey Jacob, yo, Dragon Ball Daima. Jeez. I don't know if you guys watch anime. Dragon Ball Daima's fire. Solo leveling is also picking up too. Although I'm starting to feel like, and I knew this because I've read the manhwa. Sung doesn't have to worry about anything. Like he doesn't like. There's never a time where I'm like, I'm worried if this guy's alive or he's gonna live through this. Like he always kind of wins, and like in like the greatest fashion. But it also does kind of take away from like the stakes of things. Hey, what's going on, Lucas? So the lowest ISO. Yes, okay, that makes more sense. And also, Film Guy, I agree with you because I don't know if you guys have seen dynamic range charts, but there is more information on things below middle gray on lower ISOs and higher ones, which means that your black areas are going to be cleaner. You'll have a brighter image overall in higher ISOs, but then you also have to come with noise. Does a Pixis do 1.5D squeeze in camera or D squeeze in the live stream software? Does it in camera, and then through SDI it streams through the Ultimate Studio Recorder 3G, and then it goes into my computer. Just want to tell you, love you, keep inspiring people like so. Hey, respects, man. Thank you very much. I always get super imposter syndrome because I'm like, I'm not that good of a filmmaker that much. I know how to make things look pretty, and I know how to adjust myself in a bad situation, but you guys value the things that I say, so I'll take it. Aside from sound design, do you do any post-production with your audio typically? Nope. I'm not even good at sound design. I hire editors, and I've been working with my boy Zach, whose birthday is actually today. Editor Zach's birthday today. And he's way better at sound than I am because he is a composer by trade. So I let him do it because I'm not good at it. Oh, it's pronounced Fox. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, that's new. I wouldn't have assumed that. That's helpful. Okay, cool. Got rid of my MKE600. I heard now the Sennheiser 4K. Yeah, so my 416 is a casualty of a shoot. It got lost on a production, and I haven't been able to find it. And I didn't have the money to buy another one at the time. And then I just got the MKE600, and I'm like, this is good enough. I'm praying for the box Lumix so I could buy both Blackmagic and Lumix box cameras. Yeah, honestly, if I would love if Lumix creates that box camera, because then everything that you kind of wanted from, like, it would give you, I think it would be that kind of thing that everybody's kind of been looking for, that like the hybrid features in terms of like autofocus and all the other stuff, but in something that you can build out. And like the BS, I can't remember what they're called, like the box version of Lumix cameras, they're tiny. Like like if this is the S1R II and you took the grip off and then you put the grip on the back, it's maybe a palm sized cube, and you could build it up, you could build it down. It's kind of like, what's the company called? C-Cam. Like they're around the same size as C-Cams, which is cool. RJ with the super chat. This for me is mistakenly saying Nigerian rather than Ghanaian in Brandon's live. Forgive me. Hey, RJ, no, all love, bro. No offense taken at all. Someone just commented on something being like, I'm also Nigerian. And I'm like, y'all know that wasn't a Nigerian name in my face. I tell you, it's a Ghanaian word of the day. Okay, Uncle Kofi tells you the Ghana language of the day. I'm not Nigerian, but hey, I'll take $10 as an apology. That's cool with me. Where's my mouse here? Through my eyes. Also, yes, I will be constantly talking, so that way you guys don't hear voices in the background of my audio, which I don't even know if you could hear it, but I can. Back to anime. Hey, you know what? Event. You know what? Well, I wish I could do it on Friday, but I have a video coming out already. When Fire Force comes back on, we can do watch parties if you guys are into Fire Force. Anytime you say you have the money for it, I will never see it as a flex. I know I watch good people when I fall. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, buying camera gear and stuff like that. What's interesting about the YouTube perspective of like cameras and stuff, like your perspective in this field is so much different when you're also making content, because the way that you equate things are always going to be a little bit different, right? Because you're not just waiting on like jobs and stuff like that. So, for example, when I bought the GFX50R, my first thought was like, oh, well, you don't have any, like, you're not doing photography anymore, like professionally, like you're just shooting for fun. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, well, if I use it to make content with, then like that's the way that I bring back the money. Like that's where my return on investment is. Where most people, when they buy like an FX3, their return on investment is completely contingent on their client stuff. Where we buy cameras, it's completely like it's contingent on client stuff, some like up to a point, but then it's also all of the resources that you give, whether they're paid or whether it's through something like some other externality or whatever it is. So the turnaround time on return on investment on cameras nowadays are far quicker because there's way more ways that you make money from a particular thing. Um, like for the FX30, for example, like the FX30 I purchased with affiliate marketing money and then made that thing doubled back based on like putting out a lot of resources for using the thing. Um, and that's just like it. And again, and that doesn't mean you buy cameras just to like pretend you know how to use it, because that'll come out far sooner than anything else. Um, but yeah, there's more ways to make money when you buy a camera nowadays, which is why you see a lot of people on YouTube buy so many of them, is because that turnaround time isn't just client projects anymore. Solo Leveling is a great anime. I absolutely agree. Any other anime recommendations? Free Rend at Journey's End. If you haven't watched Don Don, I would catch up on Fire Force, because I think the new season comes out like next week. Shangri-La Frontier is very much like Solo Leveling with more seasons and a little bit funnier. Actually, a lot bit funnier, to be honest with you. I want to use Blackmagic 6K Pro, and my Remus set to stream live. Damn, 133 only. Yeah, I think the Pixis was the camera that they gave all the anamorphic modes to, because I remember the full frame 6K, they didn't have all of them either. 28 days. So we good, bro. Yeah, no, that, and honestly, that's just because like it's a busy month. March is a busy month. Like I go to Maui, Italy, 2 commercials and 6 sponsored videos. So there's a lot. I think this is why I need S-Log 4. 800 isn't low enough of an ISO for a lot of darker scenes. I could agree with that. Yeah. And you know what? And that's, I'll usually just go below base. Like I'll go to flexible ISO, which sucks because I don't like doing that all the time. But I wish you did get an option to use lower base ISOs in order to keep your shadows a little bit cleaner. But then again, Sony does a really good job about it. Hang on a second. Everybody want a box camera, but keeps skipping over the OG Komodo. Hey, you know what? I think the thing with the OG Komodo, the reason why people skipped it is a couple things. One, I don't like CFast cards. Objectively, I don't like them. I just don't. They're overpriced for what they are. I'm not a huge fan of them. But also, at the time when the Komodo released, it was so expensive. So I think what ends up happening is that like when something's expensive and it turns you off, you just like stop thinking about it, and then you just hope the new camera that is going to come in a little bit cheaper. Also, there's so many things you have to buy for, like there was the red tax. Like everything you had to buy for red cameras was so expensive. Like I remember I made a video about one of the lessons you'll learn on the Blackmagic is that you have to get a mini XLR to XLR cable, and somebody had a problem with that. And I'm like, well, yeah, the Limo cable for the red costs twice as much for the same function. So I think those are kind of the reasons why people kind of skipped over it. Yoko, if you got the dash cam, perfect. I'm actually really happy to hear that, because they did not email me an update if they did or not. Can you install it for me? Probably not. We're gonna get like I don't know if you know this, but we're about to get like 40 centimeters of snow in like 2 days. And I barely just got my car to start like 2 days ago. So also Edmund, if for you who don't know the context of this, Edmund actually won the giveaway for the Vantru dash cam a little while ago, and they finally sent it to him. So when we do these giveaways, they actually send it to real people. Yeah, I think they're the same size as the BM little box G2. Yeah, they're really small. Like they're really, really, really small. Can't wait for the full frame. Sorry, the FF2. Fire Force watch party. Okay, if we are down for this, I will do a Fire Force watch party. I'm pretty sure it's on March the 4th. I'm pretty sure it is. If it's not, then like I'll do an episode watch party when I get back from Maui. One of our camera YouTubers who's open about being an anime fan. Is that a thing we have to be closed off about? So here's a grabber first live stream for me, by the way. Hey, thank you, man. Otakuta. Arigato gozaimasu. But yeah, no, I didn't. Is that a thing people are closeted about being an anime fan in 2025? That's insane. We can hear the voices in the background, but it sounds more aesthetic. Oh, okay. So that hopefully I'm gonna try to like move the microphone a little bit farther away from the wall, and then I'll just like adjust my focus a little bit because I was a little bit concerned about that, a little bit about being too loud. And improv class is like another 20 minutes. Oh yeah, it is kind of louder. I think because people are like right outside the door, but it's okay. That's all right, man. I have a 6K full frame, and yes, no update yet for all of those anamorphic settings. Yeah, I don't know why not though. It's super strange why that's not a thing. As an ex-OG Komodo owner, the SDI port blowing being so common is an issue. With it, dynamic range is much better than the Pocket 6K. Yeah, like I remember the OG Komodo and like being terrified of being completely terrified of like that thing overheating or blowing out or whatever the case might be. So I could 1000% agree with you that is super annoying and scary. But also I find like if you have the Pixis, and I don't know, I don't actually remember if you do have the Pixis, that monitor I think is shipping now. If not, it's in stock at least, actually. Now that I think about it, if it is in stock, Pixis monitor. If it's in stock, can I just buy one? Oh, no shipping to Canada. Awesome. We love that. We love that. We love when B&H can't ship to Canada when Toronto is literally a 45-minute flight. Awesome. We love that. Okay. I think the OG Komodo just comes with a lot of hassle. It isn't surprising to see people pay way more. I suggest for the CF Express. Yeah. Fox is right. I think like when the Komodo came out, I think there was like, I think the shakeup was Red finally made a camera that didn't cost you your firstborn child. And that made people happy a lot. And then when you realized all the things you had to do, and also like, again, the BPU battery or the BPA batteries wasn't a big fan of, even though I had the C200 at the time. And then the V-mount plate that had, like, I remember the V-mount plate that people got with it, the Tilta one. It was weirdly oriented and also like, because it was like sideways, but also shorted a bunch of times for some people. So like, I could totally see that, right? Kobe, don't buy it if you have clout. Message Black Magic to get it for a video. Mighty Miggy, I want to laugh and be like, haha, that's a funny joke. But like, if you don't think that's already part of the conversation that's happening right now, you'd be sorely mistaken. Basically, what I was trying to do is there's a rental thing, because like the camera's rented from Black Magic. It's not mine. Was to try to make a case to actually keep one, at least a body only, or at least get like some sort of a discount on the body only, and I would build it up myself, and I would probably make videos regardless. So like, and again, this is and I don't mean this in a look at me, I can do whatever I want. I think like I mean this in a way of like, this is where the value of where YouTube is very advantageous, is because if I do have these projects, like there's always, like, depending on how far you go, there's brand support all the time, right? Like when I messaged my Black Magic contact and I was like, hey, like I have the shoot, it's with Trish Stratus from WWE. He stopped the conversation. He's like, when do you need the camera? I'll overnight it to you. You'll have it next week. And I was like, oh shoot, okay. Like that would have costed me a couple $100 to rent out for the day. And at a certain point I was like, and like the snowstorm happened and I couldn't get my car out. So it was hard to even get more test footage and stuff. And I was like, hey, like I've been snowed in for 3 days. Can I borrow the camera for an extra week? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Right. And those things come from that like, that's where the value I think in YouTube is like, you could still do your regular production life, but having brand support for certain things makes things a lot of, makes it. Oh, what? Sorry, honey, that's a funny question. But yeah, having that type of brand support makes your projects a lot easier and a lot better. For example, there's projects where I don't have the budget, like they don't have the budget to have me on, or I don't have the resources necessary to make the shoot the way that I wanted to. I could just use brand deal money to mitigate those things. We talk about this all the time. But this is the free stuff is cool, but having support for your filmmaking career from different brands, I think that's where the big thing on YouTube is, and that's why I like it so much. Afraid She says, sorry, I've been up most of the night. I'm really sorry about that. I accidentally slept 4 hours in 2 days trying to get this S1R II video, so I feel your pain. One lens to rule them all. I don't know, man. Because like I'm on a wide angle kick. Like as much as I'm shooting anamorphic in this live stream, I am a gigantic fan of that 10mm Laowa lens. In fact, you're probably going to see a lot more of me using it on the channel. So I don't know. What about your mood right now? What about your mood right now, bro? All dark background. Is there something behind tonight's color code? Honey, this is my office all the time. I'm just shooting anamorphic. So like this side of the wall, you don't see lights. And like I turned off this light because it made a cast on my face. There's nothing there. That's money. Hey, you know, money is more than finances, it's relationships. If the Pixis had a native V mount and the USB-C monitor out from the get, I would have flown over the shelves. The red is a tough pose. Hopefully the Nexus G1 was able to do that. Fox, I think you're correct. However, I do think that now that they have the Pixis monitor out now, the only thing left is going to be that V mount plate at the back, which I don't think you're going to get a Pixis Pro. I think people are asking about the whole Pixis Pro thing. I think we're going to see a new Ursa Mini instead. Because it has all of the, like everything that everybody's complained about in the Pixis, the Ursa Mini has built in. At least the 12K did, so I'm assuming they'll just make another like mini version. Wow, that was a big laugh, guys. I'm sorry. Not implying that people are closeted about being anime fans, more like your application for anime. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm actually doing a video in March, and this is gonna be probably like my first like video essay. But it's going to be every time that Hollywood stole from anime, and I wrote it. I have to film it. It's my editor's birthday, so I'm not going to burden him with more things to do, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. Are you hungry or something? I mean, if you want to order me food, I'll take it. Actually, I'll use some of these super chats and order myself food, but also I can cook food. But no, I'm not particularly hungry right now. But the darker background is just, that's how my room is. When is your 60 millimeters? 60 millimeter f1.8 lens is coming out hopefully tomorrow, which I cannot guarantee, but I kind of can, but it's hopefully tomorrow. And realistically, it's not super in depth. I just like, it's a vlogging lens. So I'm like, well, I'll just vlog with the thing. So I talk a little bit about what the lens is about, and I talk about using it for behind the scenes on a commercial shoot. My sister's in the video. You guys will get to see my sister. And if you say anything offside, I will find you. I made the same threat last time, and I will hold to it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the 16 millimeter, because it's a practically good idea in every situation. There's not a lot of there's not much to write home about. It's small. It has a fast aperture. The autofocus works great because it's supposed to. That's pretty much it. So yeah, there's all of that. Oh, I just realized some of the footage I deleted was the autofocusing test when I tested at the gym, and I didn't put that on the, yeah, okay, I screwed up. All right, well, that's something I got to live with. 28 to 105 Lumix lens. I mean, if it's an f2, it'll be huge. Even for Lumix, it'll be a gigantic lens. But yeah, that could be a pretty useful lens, honestly. You got to make a weeb anime channel. We need a Japan trip arc. I have been told to make an anime channel by 10 different people, and I am super thinking about it. I just don't know if I have time to like go through all the editing that it requires to have an anime channel. But if I can do it, then I absolutely positively will. But I don't know if I don't know if I have the capacity to do it, which yeah. Sorry, I was reading, I got a what's it called? I got a comment from the Big Cook. It's funny how Big Cook is the one creator where I feel like everybody knows, and his follower account doesn't make sense for how many people are familiar with him, because everybody knows. Like anywhere I go, if we talk about like anything like Lumix or Nikon related, everyone's like, "Hey, yo, we trying to hear from Big Cook," and I'm like, got it. Everybody knows Big Cook, but like you gotta put some love on this man's name. You gotta get this guy more subscribers. I want to see Big Cook at 10K subscribers by the end of what the hell is that on my letter? By the end of the year, I want to see Big Cook at 10K because I think he deserves it. Do you think at times you're a bit bored with this industry? Not really. I like having fun, and like that's the thing too. Like whenever I make videos, like I have fun with them. I don't necessarily worry about the industry at large when I make videos. And I think if your face is so close to how the industry is doing and not how you're doing, then it is very easy to get bored. But yeah, I haven't really been like bored. I've been tired, right? Like I've been super tired from making videos and doing all this stuff, and like that's been kind of rough because there's a lot of travel, there's a lot like there's so many like good opportunities, and um it's hard to say yes to all of them and still like maintain that stuff. But like I wouldn't say bored. Um, I would say it's boring to see people that are bored of the industry. I think that's kind of exhausting. Like I think it's exhausting every time I hear the camera industry needs to change, or like people that are trying to like re-justify their existence in videos and stuff like that. Like that's exhausting. It makes me kind of sick of watching YouTube videos. But like when I see who was I watching recently? There was somebody I was watching recently, and then like just has fun with it, and like it's not a big thing. Even like I watched YC Imaging's video about the 16 millimeter, and he was like, "Yeah, man, like he was talking about the 16 millimeter lens, and like just it's really good, and like the stuff that could be wrong, he just doesn't care. He just wants to use tools to do stuff." And I think that's a very valid video. I was watching I'm trying to find out who it is. I'm trying to scroll through my subscriber feed because there is a couple of videos where like there's smaller creators, and I love watching them because they have fun and they don't worry so much about being like 1000% correct all the time, or who has like the most acute and astute language around the things. But yeah, short answer, no, I'm not bored. I'm gonna do this till I'm 90. Big respect to Big Cook. Yeah, man. Like one of the most underrated channels because he like you know what it is. Again, I think we talked about this before. He does a perfect job of balancing the perspective as a viewer, but also the perspective of creators. Like especially like where I'm at and some of the other guys. Although he hasn't met any of us, and like sometimes he'll say certain things, and I'm like, how did you say exactly what we're all thinking? Like on the creator side of things, but we've never met, and it's almost like word for word what we said. And we've never said it out loud or kind of anything like that. So it's cool. It would be nice if you can say something about the most difficult project you have done since becoming an editor. I'm not an editor by trade, actually. I think this year I'm fully accepting the fact that I am not very good at editing, and I will spend more time on the project and the cinematography of things, and sometimes producing and directing and stuff. So one thing that I guess was difficult is to come to terms with the fact that I'm not a very good editor, and that I should spend the money to find someone else who's better than I am. Um, Toughest project to edit. I can't remember the last client project I've had to edit. It's been a little while. Like there's been projects where I've turned over footage and I'm like, God bless you, please figure this out. And that's been the Keon Coleman shoot because we just didn't have enough footage, we didn't have enough time. That could be one where like I was like, oh yeah, like I didn't have to edit that, but like it was stressful because I handed over the footage and I'm like, we are gonna have to spend a lot of time on this to kind of figure things out. So should I get an A7 IV now, or are there better options like the S5 II and R6 II? Nick, sorry, I'm not yawning at the question. I just yawned. Kind of. What glass do you have right now? What glass do you have right now? Because I mean, like the S5 II, the A7 IV, and the R6 II kind of do the same thing. Like they all kind of do the same thing. Like they're really close to doing the same thing. And if there's like minutia details and like, well, the 4K bit rate is higher on the R6 Mark II. Okay. But they all kind of do the same thing for the most, from at least from what I understand. Then again, I have not used the R6 Mark II. And if you need open gate, the writing's on the wall. But I haven't used the R6 II enough to know like what their like thing is, because it's very much Canon and Sony almost have the same cameras a lot of the time, especially like the mirrorless camera line. Do you want to direct a movie? And if you do, uh, If you do, will the DP as well? What? Oh, okay. I think you're asking like if I'd want to direct a movie, and if so, would I DP it as well? One thing that I've come to realize is if I have to direct, I don't like DPing, and if I have to DP, I don't want to direct. And that becomes really hard because like stuff in the fitness industry, like oftentimes you're doing both, and one of them always suffers when you have to do both. So like even this like the Trish shoot, right? Like I had to produce it, I had to direct it, I had to hire crew, I was a DP, I had to create like looks for it. Then I had to do all the location scouting, went to the location. Location did not look the same way it did in the pictures. And then we only could use that location, but because I was in Norway, we couldn't find another one in time. Like there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Um, I hate the idea of having to do all of that. I like the idea of someone being like, hey, this is what we want. Can you use light, lens, and camera to solve the problem of like making this look as good as it can? And we know what we want, and we just want you to make sure that you do the problem solving to make that happen. I like that a lot. You just don't get that in the fitness industry. Oftentimes you have to wear the three biggest hats all the time, and then you hire out for the rest. So short answer, if I'm directing a movie, I'm not DPing. And if I'm DPing, I'm definitely not directing. Where are we? Big Hook has happened to the filmmaking zeitgeist. Yeah, I like his stuff a lot. I've been watching him pretty much. I don't think I've missed an upload since Japan, because it was the funny. Like that was one of the few times I've watched anybody in like camera YouTube's video and like laughed like hysterically for hours about all the things that he was saying. So big shout out to him. Not sure if it was asked, but what's left for the S1H Mark II with the S1R II kind of occupying that right now to an extent? I think we're looking at better low light, faster readout. I think some people want an OLPF or an anti-aliasing filter. Log C, who knows? Outside of that, man, I don't know if there's anything else like, and that's kind of the thing which I really like about the S1R II launch was once that camera came out, like what else do you want? And it's probably not much because like, yeah, because if the S1R II, for example, had a lower megapixel readout and twice as fast shutter, it'd be a camera of the year. Like you wouldn't, what else would you want from it kind of thing, right? So I think, yeah, I think in terms of I think the S1H II isn't going to be a far departure from the S1R II in a lot of ways. I think it's just going to be, it's literally probably going to be almost exactly the same thing with a couple more video features. What's missing from the C80? I don't know. I just don't like, I used it. It was fun. It looked great. I don't care about it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't care about it enough to consider buying it. I think for people that already have Canon, I think it's great. I think in a vacuum, it looks awesome. I think it improved on the things that need to improve on. I'm not a big fan of the body, but it doesn't mean the camera's bad. Like it doesn't like it. And I think sometimes when we talk about these cameras, like what's good and what's bad, it's like for me, it's not it for me. But for somebody else that needs like high quality video features, but also wants like a 1DX style body for whatever reason, I think it's awesome for them. In terms of what's missing, I don't think very much. I just don't think people care about Canon cameras anymore. Or at least that's kind of a tough one because they have so much market share right now. I don't think people care about Canon's cinema camera line right now, outside of like broadcast companies that are already in that ecosystem, to be honest with you. Damn, we've been on for 2 hours and 18 minutes. I'll give it like 12 more minutes. I hope all my stuff is my stuff uploaded? Generating thumbnails. Oh, is there stuff still uploading? God dang. Okay, so there is still footage uploading on this, so we're gonna be here for a little while. I wonder if I just sorry, I found the mute button on this microphone. Okay, so we talked a lot about the S1R II. Does anyone have any more questions about the S1R II? I feel like most of the questions revolved around whether or not shutter angles as big as a problem as people make it out to be. And I think the overwhelming response to that is probably not, but also important to know. 3 hours later. Yeah, man, Alorio, I've been waiting for this footage for quite a while, and it's been a struggle. And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with it. Honestly, I think I might just because like Zach's editing the video right now, and I think it's like 5 o'clock his time. Um, I might just be like, "Hey, Zach, like take the wheel, man. Like I can't open anything, so we're just gonna figure something out." I'm also surprised y'all are hanging out for this month. Like, there's 24 people here, which is so many people. Um, yeah, so that's done. Ursa 12K video is gonna be pretty soon. Realistically, it's not a spec review because CVP did a far better job than I'll ever do. Am I doing a 16 millimeter Sony video? Yeah, Jason, I am. It's coming out tomorrow. I'm trying this thing because I know that I don't like embargo videos don't do well for me. And I think there's twofold. One, my channel's not been like I haven't done embargo videos long enough that the audience expects me to do first day launch videos, especially for lenses too. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just bow out of the embargo race today. Two, I accidentally deleted a bunch of footage, and that's what's being downloaded right now, so I can finish the video. And I keep getting notifications that there's more files being uploaded to this Frame.io. What else is there? Yeah, so I don't know about embargo videos anymore. And I mean, we were talking about this on Threads a little while ago. I feel like, and actually, I might need the chat to help me out on this one. I feel like where my channel sits in the zeitgeist is somewhere where I could be counted on for like long-term review, like long-term viewership. So for example, like this S1R II video didn't do that hot, but I could see it steadily gaining views like later on, right? So between now and like when the camera comes out and when the camera is shipped and stuff like that, and even a little bit after that, this will still have legs kind of going forward. Even the my DJI Ronin RS4 Mini, like event, like the first day I put it out, it got like 2,000 views and there's nothing much to it, and that was only like a week ago, not even. And it's at 6,600 now. Like it's gonna end up being a 10,000 view video at some point. I feel like my videos kind of have that kind of thing around it where people won't go to my videos on launch day. They'll go days after and they'll watch them months after, which I think I prefer, which means that like maybe my strategy per se isn't necessarily to rush to make the video for launch day. Maybe it's like, hey, as long as the brand's cool with it, maybe you don't put it on the launch day so you don't get buried under the 100 videos of people that have bigger channels and more SEO power. And I just worry about making the best video possible. So when you do get to mine, there's a sense of like, oh shit, okay, like that's the video to watch. Like the other stuff will tell me what it does. This guy's making like this is where I would go to see how it really works. And I've been toying with that because being part of embargo things, like there's so many benefits to it. I don't care what anybody says. For example, being able to see, like be able to have a bunch of eyeballs on it if you are somebody that has a lot of view count. Sponsorships are very lucrative because what ends up happening is that your bargaining chip is, well, look how many eyeballs got to see my Lumix S9 launch. Don't you want to put your ad read over top of this video that's going to get 100,000 views every time, right? So there's advantages to being able to be in that first place position. But if I'm not getting those views anyways, then like what's the point of trying to compete for them, which is where I'm kind of at too. But yes, short answer, Jason, I will be doing a 16 millimeter video. It's probably gonna be tomorrow, if not worst case on Friday. I'm the only one not doing a 16 millimeter video. I mean, for $7.99 US, which is pretty affordable, you could buy one. Hang on a second, I gotta find myself in the gym back again. This here, this jowl. Well, not really jowl. I don't like looking at it. I'm gonna back of that cardio shit. Woo! Also, my nose is stuffed. I'm so sorry, guys. I wish more cameras had stabilization like Panasonic's, or at least gyro life with Blackmagic would be super awesome. Yeah, I think so. I think Sony doesn't do very good stabilization. I think they try really hard and it's not there. Canon doesn't either. Canon stabilization, I remember using the R5 and I was very upset about how bad it was. Question about the S1R II. What's missing? This cam, and pretty much all cams nowadays, have almost everything, and it's hard to make a bad choice. I feel like internal ND would be the next big thing. Fox, I think you have to find a way to engineer an internal ND on a small mirrorless camera and still make it small. I think that's one of the problems people are having. Because if you put, like, look how big cameras with built-in NDs are. Like the Pixis, they couldn't fit one in it, and that's a body size where it should work. I think that's going to be the problem. I think the problem is we have to find a way to how to put it in there and still keep it the mirrorless camera size, or we have to somehow gauge if the audience doesn't mind a bigger camera to get built-in NDs. And if you can do that, then I think it's fine. Now the argument might be the X100 has an ND filter, but it's only a single 4-stop ND. It doesn't have anything else, so it's not variable. And I think for a hybrid video camera, that's not super functional, because like, yeah, if I get 4 stops of ND, that helps if I need 4 stops of ND, but if I'm too underexposed, then what do I do, right? So just hold your breath, walk slowly, and weigh your rig until then. I might just do that. Oh, that was all. What do you think is the easiest way to be a cinematographer in Hollywood? And just to break your way as a professional one into the industry. We're talking about blockbuster movies now. Honey, I don't know. I'm not there, so it'd be super like your guess is as good as mine. I would also say that like there was a podcast with Luke Forsythe, and Patrick O'Sullivan, Wandering DP, made a comment, and he's right. And it's the idea that the middle class cinematographer no longer exists, or it's starting to not exist because of where things are going, right? So like, for example, you have 2 choices right now, I think, as a lot of new people coming up. And it's that you're already attached to the higher end stuff, like the big commercials I'm talking about, like in big movies and stuff. You're either already attached to that and you're already in that ecosystem, or you're going the other way and you're just making your own stuff and getting paid for it. Like those are the kind of 2 options that people kind of have now. The middle kind of is starting to not exist too much, starting to erode away a little bit. And it makes sense because like YouTube is watched more than Netflix is. So marketing companies and where money is going to flow is going to be in that direction as well. So in terms of breaking out in Hollywood, like you're either already plugged in or you know somebody that's plugged in. But I think the whole idea of like, I'm going to be a PA and work my way up, like I don't know if that's realistic for a lot of people anymore. So it sounds like probably your growth is happening a few days after to a few weeks. What I've noticed about your content, especially when it comes to reviews that you have. Okay, hang on a second. I'm trying to get all of this at the same time, so I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so something. Primarily your growth. Yeah, so the growth is really your best case and use case, and to others which only focus on out of the box experience, yours highest trending views at 143,000 views. Spend time that mine, bro, because he's. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, and that's something I noticed too, and I think something I might just like. I think it also comes down to like a branding thing, right? Like if I decide that like, hey, you know what, you're always going to do a video when a new product comes out, but it's never going to be on launch day. But you're going to put it in a situation where you have the most amount of fun. I'm okay with that being part of the brand and not getting 100,000 views plus on a release date video, because I've never gotten that. My highest viewed video to Life Through Your Eyes said is a podcast about the FX6 and why everybody suddenly switched to it. And then the next highest viewed video is how to shoot with an FX30 with multicam interviews while using just one FX30. And even the FX3 versus FX30 video, that's like another really high video. That's a really well watched after video that came out like 5 months after the FX30 came out. So to be fair, that's right. If the mount is the problem for everyone uses PL nowadays, is it unrealistic to hope that for more native PL mounts, or is that too niche? I think you're not going to get native PL mounts on camera brands that make lenses, because it wouldn't be a profit maximizing thing. So for example, if I'm Sony, I would never put a PL mount native to my camera unless it's like the Burano. And even if it's a Burano, I give you the option to it. It's not one or none. Even on the Venice, like you could take the PL mount off. Mostly because I make lenses. Why would I wouldn't cut my own foot off to do that. So if a company makes lenses, I don't think they would do it. When I say everyone, is mostly talking about people who use, people that use it. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, to that point, I don't think mirrorless cameras, if they make mirrorless camera mounts, I don't think they're going to do PL native, mostly because they manufacture lenses. And that's like, I would argue that's a bigger asset to a business than just selling camera bodies. To which others before, that you answer that, right? Remember the 17K 65mm camera that Blackmagic announced? I think it just disappeared and nobody's talking about it now. I don't know. Do you think it's actually something special or just BM showing off? EM, I think the reason why nobody's talking about it is because nobody on YouTube is shooting 17K 65 millimeter IMAX. And if they are, it's people that aren't on YouTube, to be honest with you. And also, I don't think they've shipped them yet, to be honest. I don't think they shipped them at all. Because even the Ursa 12K that's been shipping since, I think, before the Pixis, there's not many videos on it. And I think because of that, it's because the people that are making those videos, people that are shooting on the Pixis, I don't think they're on YouTube like that. Because, like, here's the thing. If I am using the, sorry, turn this up a little bit. Like, if I'm using the Ursa 17K 65 millimeter and I make videos about it, the chances of you doing anything with it, like buying it, renting it, whatever the case is so slim that why put, like, you know what I mean? Why put all the effort into the video to, like, outside of just for the sake of it, then just kind of keeping it to myself and keeping my high production stuff, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like the same reason why, like, you don't see a ton of videos on, like, the Red Raptor. There's a few people, but, like, most people aren't making Red Raptor YouTube content because realistically, who's buying a $30,000 camera by themselves? Views don't matter if you love what they're doing. I am an agreeance, but also the realist in me still needs, I still need to be able to afford these $17 eggs. So view counts will still matter in the perspective of making sure that this is a sustainable thing that I can do. Because I don't think I could put up 6 to 12 videos a month and have no money. I hope we make back. I'm going to cook and get a little drunk. Hey, there you go. All right. Have a good one, boss. I mean, if we've been streaming for like 2.5 hours, and now I feel like because y'all done really super chatted you guys, there's enough super chats here that paid for my groceries, which I am super appreciative and also very surprised that happened. So I don't know, keep on stream, but I'm so hungry. I'm going to be so real with you guys. I'm super hungry. So I will leave the open floor for any questions that anybody has left. Because then most of the time you guys will be like, I don't have questions, but then you're in my Instagram DM being like, I have questions. And I'm like, well, why didn't you ask during the live stream? And then you're like, well, I don't know. So I'm gonna leave that open. And if there is none, then I'm probably going to eat food. Yeah, 1 second. I do. See ya in 121 in the United Kingdom. Definitely coming to Canada. So check your DM. Hey, let me know. I should be home, although I might be. I want to go to the UK. I haven't been to the UK, and I feel like that's one of the European countries I can go to and still feel like I can speak English comfortably. So, non-mango filled that stomach. Yeah, I don't think I've eaten since. When was the last time I ate food? I think like maybe 2:30. I think it was maybe 2:30. It was like 6 hours ago, maybe. Are there any videos you've made lately that have been for you instead of a brand or for the viewers? Yeah, my 10 millimeter Laowa lens. That wasn't for the brand. I bought that lens, but that was like, it was just a stupidly cartoonishly wide lens, and I wanted to have fun with it. And that's where I'm like, cool, I'm going to make a video about this 10 millimeter lens. I have no reason to buy it, but I think it's a lot of fun. So let me just do it. But yeah, sometimes there are gear videos that I make that are for myself that, like, I'll just buy the thing and I'll just go and make a video because I think it's funny. What else was there? The first commercial shoot on the Pixis was for myself as well, because it was an opportunity for me to like reflect on the idea where like you're not gonna have a perfect DP day, which was cool. Also, like, I like watching it back because it kind of feels like game film. And the GFX 50R video was a lot of fun. Another thing, I bought the GFX on my own, and it was fun to use. Edmund super chat. Hey, what's up? Kofi Cups. Hey, Edmund. If you know, you know. If you know about Kofi Cups, you know about Kofi Cups. That's all I'm gonna say. If you know, you know. Just wait for it. Love to see your working shadow with you if you're in help projects. The hard part with that is sometimes like how many people I'm allowed to have on set with me, and that's kind of a tough one. But what I think I want to do, and I don't know, I'll leave it up to you guys if you guys want to chime in on this one just before we go. How do you guys feel about having like, and it probably is gonna be a members only type of video, but like video job shadows. It'd just be like raw BTS. I might talk to camera every now and again, but just like a raw BTS, and it'd be like a members only video. I think I'm gonna start doing, because like when I put it on YouTube and like as a regular channel video, they don't do well because a lot of people don't like chime in for that, and a lot of people won't like sit down and watch like 30 minutes of raw BTS. Like, no, realistically, nobody does that, right? In a practical situation. So I've been toying with that idea. So if you guys are into that, let me know. Kobe Kindergarten Mill definitely coming back, guys. That's diabolical. That is absolutely diabolical. Did you also get the new Sony telephoto zoom? No, I didn't. And the reason why is because I don't really do a lot of telephoto work. I would love to shoot more sports, and I think that's the only way I would. But give me a super telephoto zoom in February when we have like 2 feet of snow in 2 days, I wouldn't know what I'd use it for, to be honest with you. If it was still the NFL season, and I've been trying to get on Sony, because believe it or not, I played college football, and I really want to start adding, like, I want to start getting into shooting on the field. If Sony ever hooks me up with the ability to do that, I think that's where I would do it. I do a lot more sports, like live sports photography. But I've been asking them for media passes, and they've not been answering me, which makes me sad. So we'll be down for it. Hey, so yeah, y'all let me know if you guys want to see, like, if like raw BTS is probably the more practical way to put things on a membership channel. I think, you know what, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I have a ton of behind the scenes. Don't really know if I have a ton of, actually, I've been downloading stuff this entire time. Don't know what the heck has happened here. Yeah, don't know if that is what you guys are down for, but if you want, I could try to figure something out, and maybe I'll have my BTS guy like shoot just for raw BTS to go as a membership video. Which is the best editing software, Avid or Premiere, depending on your applications? Do you think Avid is a luxury? Hani, you are asking all the right questions, but to the wrong guy, because I've never used Avid, to be honest with you. So I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it works very well. I personally couldn't tell you. Also, let me try to check out this Frame.io. This thing is still going. God dang. Because it's going to take me 2 hours to download all this, too. There's 500 items in this thing. Oh, God. Okay. I definitely thought 2.5 hours was going to be more than enough time for me to get all of this cloud updated stuff back on my computer. And it does not look like it is at all. Let me just check real quick. Where's my ting? I feel like you guys should be able to hear this in the back. Like, there's no way. There's no way y'all can't hear that. Okay, let me just hang on 1 second. Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, it's still not going. There's still 60 gigs left. Okay, well, I'm not going to stay on stream for that long time, because that you guys are going to get bored. If this is the end, have a great... You know what? This is going to be the end. So thank you guys for coming in through. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We talked a little about the S1R Mark II. We talked about the Ursa 12K. Talked about some 16mm stuff. I'm probably going to go... I'm going to go live tomorrow. I think I'm going to go to the gym early in the morning, and then I'm going to go to live stream tomorrow while I record some videos that I should have done days ago. That being said, thank you to everyone who sent super chats. Like, that was unexpected and quite a lot. And also thank you for you guys for actually like chilling out for this amount of time, because this is a long stream. This is like 2.5 hours. What time tomorrow? Don't know yet, but I will post on Instagram as to what time it's going to be. Yeah, I'll post on Instagram. All right. See you guys later.